start putting them out. Okay. Welcome to Fighting to Recover, where real stories meet real grit. Today's guest is someone who's lived it all: the chaos of the club doors, the discipline of the cage, the power of community, and the burden and the honour of changing lives. Gaz owns the biggest MMA gym in the city. He's a former head doorman turned fighter, fiancé to a CrossFit champion, and a gym owner, fight promoter, and a man who's helped people rise from rock bottom, including his own team. This one's going to be raw, real, and full of heart, so let's get into it. So, nice one for coming on the podcast, Gaz. I know you're a really, really busy man, and turned up on your dinner break today, so I really appreciate that. So, I think we'll just dig straight in and we'll start off with your security work. What was it like being the head doorman at some of the busiest clubs in the city?
So being a doorman to me was a bit of a random one that I got into, where literally it was one of my good friends. Basically, he worked the doors. Somebody he worked with went off and he asked me to jump in for a night just to cover them. And that was literally the week after I turned 18. And then basically I just started doing it ever since. I like dealing with people. I'm not scared of a little bit of a scuffle from all the years of fighting and stuff. So it just kind of came naturally to me to deal with it. And there's a little bit of this that kind of a lot of people don't know, and I don't think you know this, but I've actually had some problems with my family with alcohol and stuff. And I've had to deal with alcoholics quite a lot in my life. So actually coming over it and dealing with people who are drunk in the doors and people who had taken substances and kind of weren't quite seen straight, I almost had like a bit of a head start about how to deal with people like that and could kind of relate to them a little bit more and kind of understand that they weren't always seeing sense and stuff.
So having a little bit more time, patience.
Yeah.
I know a lot of doormen, like you even look at them funny, you're getting thrown out of the place.
Exactly. But again, I was lucky that the guys I worked with, they all had their heads screwed on. There wasn't an ego. There wasn't, don't get me wrong, one or two out of 30 or 40 guys, like I could write off and go, they were idiots. But the majority of them actually weren't. They weren't looking for trouble. They would actually give people time, and you could see it in them that they were willing to. They generally would help people who needed help. Don't get me wrong, we all get a little bit,
People just get on your nerves. Some people just.
So, on a note of emissions, obviously, I used to work with Jono quite a lot.
Yeah. So John was my brother.
Yeah, I used to work with Jono quite a lot, and it got to the point where me and Jono would be the team that worked together quite a lot. So, it wasn't just about working on the doors and dealing with like the customers. I'm sure John has told you many, many, many stories. Some of the like literally hysterical things that happened to us, where it was like hanging out with your friends. That's the easiest way to describe it. And the only thing that's ever come close to me for me is like the military side of things. It's like the close knit community of
like a brotherhood.
Yeah, a brotherhood, like special forces. You have to have each other's back. You have to know you can depend on each other. And being a doorman was that kind of that clicking again of being able to deal with a team.
I suppose it is a dangerous situation. Being on the doors, people are unpredictable. People do some crazy things when they're drunk that they would not necessarily do when they're sober. So if you're twisting someone's friend up, trying to get them out of the club, and there's a big group of them, and your staff aren't vigilant and they haven't got your back.
Yeah.
So I see what you mean there with that like brotherhood sort of thing.
Yeah, it literally is like it's like us guys in the gym. It's like the boxing team. You can chat, you can joke, you kind of know where you're at. You at with everyone that's in your squad, kind of thing. And just the doors were fun. The camaraderie about being around the guys and stuff was just like it was unreal. But there was also the points where there was times when, like prime example, I got jumped. So I was dealing with the situation. I was looking away, had my back turned, basically got slide bombed from the side. If the guys hadn't been there and hadn't been paying attention, though I still got hit, I probably would have got jumped all over and got beat up by 3 or 4 guys before the guys got to me. But the guys were switched on, and it kind of lets you know who you can trust and kind of who has your back. And, I started off as just a doorman, then I ended up being like the head doorman, so front of house, basically just because I was good at dealing with people. And then it was only like a little jump from that. It was, well, I'm doing all the paperwork, I'm doing all the stuff, I might as well have my own company. And then that's when I started taking on pubs and having doormen and stuff. And that's when Jono came to work for me. And a few of the guys that kind of we're friends with kind of slowly came across to kind of work for me and stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I don't miss the late nights now that I'm getting older. I quite like being sat at home with a good all that.
Home comforts.
Um,
Do you think like your time on the door has influenced like how you handle yourself in the cage or in your business? Because obviously I know you're not doing the doors anymore.
Yeah.
But do you think that influenced you in the cage, or do you think how?
Yeah, 100%. The first instinct I have, like when me and you sparred for the first time, is the first time you connected with a good shot. I was like, I wanted to get you back, and I know for a fact that if I'd have come flying forward and tried to jab your head, you would have literally lit up my stomach with body shots, and I had to be able to kind of hold my patience and kind of go, okay, let's reset, relax. You know, it's like almost like dealing with like a problem. It's like coming over like a math problem. I've now got to rework out, but I have to kind of let go of that initial urge to kind of strike out and kind of control my temper. And I would say that, well, I'm sure some people would say that I've got a temper and I haven't got a temper. I'm always the one who says I haven't got a temper, but when it goes, it goes. And I think that dealing from door work taught me to be patient with people. And then I think the same thing of when it came to dealing with like MMA fights, jiu-jitsu fights, all the other kind of stuff that I've done over the years, is that you have to almost kind of be able to let go that if you hit me, I kind of have to be able to shrug it off, brush it off. And, you know, for what we're talking on down the line, you know, like I made a little mistake. I realize I'm making a mistake. Jumping all over that mistake's not going to make it any better. I have to work out how not to do that mistake and how to overcome it. And I literally think that dealing with the door people teaches you the patience to kind of be able to bring that around properly. Then, you know, you carry that across if I get tagged in a sparring match, I don't kind of go, well, I've got to win a point back now. I can relax and kind of reset it a little bit.
Yeah, because a calm fighter is always the best fight. If you're fighting with too much emotion, it's controlled aggression and stuff. And you know, I've never seen you lose your temper, but I can imagine that you got a temper. I think we all have. I think you've got a high threshold for the amount of. I think it's different. You've got patience, but I feel like if someone's taking the piss, then you won't take shit. There's a fine line.
It's a really weird one for me. Is that I'm used to dealing with big stressful situations. So something that's massive, I can almost kind of be like, yes, cool. We can work this out. I can figure out a way around this.
Something tiny.
Yeah, it's the small inconvenience that literally makes me have to take like a 2-minute trip out of my way that will like really set me off on a bad one. So
yeah. I'm exactly some of the stuff that me and Tara have been through, massive stuff. I mean, we just get over it like it's nothing, and then there could be something tiny, and that will bother us more. That's just how we are as people. So
yeah.
Was there like a specific moment where you just knew that you were done with being a doorman and wanted to like leave that life behind you, or was that like a gradual?
It was definitely gradual, because even to this day, I miss the camaraderie of the guys. I do miss the camaraderie of the squad being around you, kind of thing. But what it was for me is I'm getting older. I'm 46 in like 2 weeks' time. And the way the kind of doors changed was you were going out to work at 8 at night. You were getting home at 3:30 in the morning, maybe having an hour or so to switch off. So it was like 4:30, 5 o'clock before you get into bed. And then you're not getting up to like midday, 1 o'clock on your Saturday and Sunday. So you don't even really have a kind of weekend to spend with any of your family or friends and stuff. And then before you know it, it's Monday. It becomes like a bit of a Groundhog Day.
It's really, really unsociable hours, isn't it?
Crazily unsociable. And that's not on top of if there was like a little altercation. The North Wales police, don't get me wrong, they've got like, you know, they've got a thankless job. Nobody particularly likes it when a policeman turns up. But they'd be like, okay, this poor person's been assaulted. Can you give a statement? And I'd be like, yeah, cool. I'll come in Monday lunch. I'm like, oh no, sorry, can you come in tonight? I'm like, I'm working till 3:30 in the morning. They're like, yeah, it's cool. We're in till 8 a.m. And I'm like,
just going to doing work after you've finished work.
Yeah, 2 hours sat in a police cell chatting to them, going, oh, this person did this person did this. And don't get me wrong, I know that stuff needs to be done, but like, it got to a point where I was just like, do you know what? The other stuff I'd rather be doing with my time. Again, they're not on loads of money. The money's not as great as what it was when it first started and stuff. So you end up basically doing it as like a secondary top-up job, like a little bit of cash income.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, people don't pay cash. You only get paid bank transfers. And, you know, it's all above board compared to what it used to be back in the day. But it wasn't worth, the juice wasn't worth the squeeze anymore. Monetary-wise, I was only doing it for being around the guys.
Yeah. You know, with my brother, I feel like when he used to come home, because he's such was such a hyper vigilant job. When he'd come home, he was still wide awake. So we'd say if he finished work 3:30 in the morning, he get home, he's wide awake in bed till 5, 6, and then he's asleep all day, and then he's back at it.
Yeah.
Then I'm trying to hold down, well, I say a normal job, but like a day job during the week.
Yeah.
A Wednesday night on the doors, Friday night, Saturday night, and sometimes Sunday, bank holidays and stuff like that. And even for a young man, I think that sort of
takes its toll,
and it takes it out of you.
Yeah. So like, the days, man, were like, just like me and John were on the doors like literally like Monday to Saturday. So like literally every night of the week, there'd be me. There's another guy called Tomo. There'd be like me. There'd be Tomo or Ricky. There'd be like 3 or 4 of us who were literally just there all week, all the time working. And don't get me wrong, you kind of go, well, the money's good. It's not like it's a hardship job. It's not like you're sitting there kind of at a factory just producing stuff. You're stood there, you're laughing and joking. It's kind of entertaining. It's like hanging out with your mates, which is the only bit that kind of gets it. But it just got to the point for me of just like, I had other things and other priorities in my life that I wanted to do. And it was a case of, there's a really good book called Pumpkin Patch, which is all about how these Americans grow these huge, like 4-foot high pumpkins. And basically what they say is it all comes on one big vine like this, and they'll have like 18, 20 pumpkins on one vine. And basically what they have to do is they have to look over those and go, out of all those 20 pumpkins, which pumpkins is going to be the chance to be a champion? And you can only put so much energy into that and to make that pumpkin grow. Well, and the same thing with me. Well, if I want my gyms to grow and I want the fighters to do well, I need to be putting more of my energy into that pumpkin rather than staying out till 5 in the morning working on a door.
Yeah, you're wearing yourself, splitting yourself too thin.
Yeah, so I kind of had to make a bit of a choice with what I wanted. And if I was going to put all the time and energy into the gym and still have a fiancé and be able to spend some time with her and see my friends and family, something had to give, and that was that unfortunate.
Was the one that had to go. So I want to go into your MMA and talk a little bit about your fighting and your career with that. So I don't even know this myself, but how did you start MMA? How did your journey into MMA first begin?
Okay, so this is kind of like leads into quite well, because as you lead into about the gym, to be honest. So this is quite a handy one for us to kind of talk about. I was always interested in like the MMA. So like from like '96, like when the UFC first started coming out, we were watching it. We were watching the videos. We were getting pirated VHS tapes off mates sent over to us from America so we could watch them and stuff like that. So we'd been watching them, and there was me and 2 or 3 other doormen who were like really into it. So like basically we'd watch the fights, but there was no one to learn off. So we'd watch the fights and go, what did that guy do? And he did this, and this kind of thing. And then he got behind the guy and then choked him. And then like literally for an hour in local fitness first gym on a wooden floor with just a couple of rubber mats to try and protect our knees, we'd sit there trying to choke the producers out of each other, trying to learn these MMA moves that we had no idea what was going on. And randomly this, so I was a gym instructor in fitness first. That was my day job at the time. This big, massive scouser came in called Martin, and he was just this huge guy, really strong. And he went, I need somebody to do my S&C, my strength and conditioning with me to get me ready for a bout. And I was like, oh, cool. What are you doing? Like, one look at him, I was like, you're obviously like a boxer. I've seen my non-punch bag. You're obviously a boxer. And he was like, I don't like saying. He goes, but I want to, because I want to tell you so that you're programming the right stuff for me to do. He goes, but I've got an MMA fight. It was a cage fight. I said, yeah, I know what MMA is. Like, I follow it all the time and start chatting to him.
It was very frowned on when it first came out. I never used to hear people say MMA. It was cage fighting.
It was cage fighting.
And it sounded vicious.
Yeah, that was part of, I think at the time they were trying to hype it up to make it sound more interesting.
Yeah.
So he said he had the fight. I was like, all right, cool, I'll do this. And I was like, asking him, obviously, like, I try and do a little bit of training. Where do you train? It turned out there was one gym up the coast, and it was purely invite only. So you couldn't turn up and train. You had to get invited, and then you had to be checked out by the coaches to make sure you were allowed to come in the gym. That like the set. I said to Martin, right, if I did his S&C for him, I would spend extra time with him and give him more time than what I was supposed to. Write him home stuff, keep an eye on his nutrition. But I want him to ask if he could get me an invite to it. And he went, yeah, fine. So I basically became Martin's S&C coach, but also became like Martin's training partner in the classes. So that was like how my intro started to it. And it was kind of good. So like I'd done like a load of kickboxing, a bit of boxing. Like, so I was like fairly
already been mixing it up different.
Yeah, I was happy with my hands. Like, I was like, yeah, I could throw punches, I can throw kicks, like, and I'd knock people out in like, kickboxing competitions and stuff. Like I felt pretty confident myself. And I spent the next 3 months basically being sat on by judo players, wrestling people. I was just like, if I couldn't hit them, once I was stuck on my back, I was kind of buggered. So I was like, oh, this isn't as easy as I thought. And rolling around on the floor with another guy who doesn't know how to do jiu-jitsu or wrestling, it's kind of easy to do. But when you've got somebody who knows how to, the way I can equate it is like, I'm a really good runner, so I must be able to box. It's like, nah, it's two different sports. Like, you haven't got a clue.
I know there's running fitness, so there's the boxing. There's two different.
It's a different game in it. So yeah, I basically just got really, really into it. And randomly, this is how the Pound Gym started. Was we turned up to training on, I think it was a Thursday night, and they went, "Sorry guys, this is going to be our last session. As of Tuesday, the gym's closing. Like, you won't be able to come train here anymore." We were like, "Oh, is it like you're just reducing the numbers and we're not allowed to train?" It's like, no, we're shutting the gym. No one's allowed anymore. It's like, we literally, as of Tuesday, there's no more classes. This is the last ever class. We're like, oh. And then everyone went, oh, it's all right. There's the other gym in town didn't know, run by a guy called Rich. We'll all go to Richie's gym because we used to go cross-train at people's gyms. There's only two in the area. There weren't many people who could teach and do the stuff that we wanted to do. So we go to Rich, and basically we went to Richie's on like Thursday. I think we got told Coleman Bay was closing on Thursday. We went to Richie's on Friday, and he went, "Oh, this is my last session. I'm closing the gym tomorrow." We were like, "How come both of the gyms have closed down like pretty much overnight?" I think it literally was actually 24 hours. It was 24 hours in the gym's closed.
Why was that?
One of them was run by another organisation that basically they'd been given like a load of red tape that there was no way for them to jump through, if that makes sense. Okay. Richie had basically, for want of a better word, he'd hired an old derelict, old like carpentry woodworking like workshop, and it was like nails out the wall, and you could see daylight through the roof. Wasn't fit for purpose, but it was kind of cool.
Rocky style.
Yeah, if I said Rocky, when he goes down to the basement with Apollo Creed to try and get back, like it felt like that. And I think the landlords were just like, this building's a bit wrecked, like we need to close it down. So Rich had lost it, and I think there was about 20 odd guys training, and they basically turned around and said, well, if Rich is not teaching anymore, and Mark and the guys actually teaching, like who's next in line to teach? And they were like, well, Gaz is a sports coach, and Gaz is like does more of it than anyone else here. Like, I was the guy who I was doing 5-6 days a week of it. I was training
first to turn up, last to leave
every single day.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, you're the obvious choice to turn up. I was like, well, I don't know what I'm doing and what they've taught me. They're like, yeah, but you actually come in with new stuff because you're trying to learn it yourself. You're still trying to develop skills.
So kind of learning on the job then with you.
Yeah.
Because, you're an established coach now, and you are the go-to man when it comes to MMA and even CrossFit and stuff like that. Yeah. So you kind of fell into that by accident. Being a personal trainer, you're doing that all the time, but into the coaching of MMA is kind of happened by like default.
Purely by accident. It was literally just, I was the only guy who was a coach. So I was coaching other things, and they were just like, well, you can carry on coaching this. So we had like a little conversation, and the old time nightclub, which was like the old junior nightclub, that's where I was a doorman. So we basically turned around to myself, like, look, I've got a load of mats. I was saying, if we come in on a Sunday morning, we'll brush the whole nightclub clear of glass, because there was glass everywhere. Brush the whole thing glass. We have to carry old style judo mats, which are like 2 meters by 1 meter, and they're heavy.
They are heavy.
They're heavy. We then have to carry them up 2 flights of stairs from the storeroom, which was in the basement. Carry like 40 of them upstairs between us, and then we're training for like 3 hours in a nightclub, and you'd be training, like you'd have to stop every now and again to pull up a piece of glass out your elbow because we'd missed the piece and stuff. And it was proper like rough and ready and stuff, but we loved them. We were training for like 3 hours every Sunday because that was the only time we could get. Fast forward on from that, we ended up getting a little full-time venue, which was basically just like a little locker. Again, probably wasn't that big. You could probably fit about 10 of us in there comfortably, and there was always about 20 of us in there, so like you were on top of each other and things. And then we got given the opportunity to move into the old high street gym with the kickboxing club, and the idea was that rather than us paying rent for one place, them paying rent for one place, we'd share the rent and split the bills.
Makes sense.
And then fast forward on 5 years after that got bigger and bigger and bigger. We're in the gym we're in now, so we've got 6,000 square foot gym, all the CrossFit side in there, all the MMA, boxing ring, like everything in one place. Like it's just, it's turned into what was like a little hobby. And can you come?
To be fair, you've nurtured that. Yeah. Like you say, you've given up the door work, even though you enjoyed it, and that's your socialising as well. But that brotherhood, I feel like you've integrated that very well into the gym, and how we all as coaches look at each other, and I feel like everybody feels equal there. Nobody feels like, you know what, I'm probably one of the newest coaches, but I don't feel any different to ones that have been there for a lot longer, and really relate to what you're saying with the rolling around and glass in your knees and that. Because when I learned boxing, my street, the ring only had 2 ropes, so if you got pushed back onto the ropes were only up to the back of your knees, so you'd be falling over. The corners had no cushions in them, so they had the metal spikes sticking out. If you went in the corner, you'd have a big metal spike in your back. And you should have only had about 6 people maximum in there, so lock up garage, and there'd be about 20 of us in there, and the heat was so much that it got me fit. It got you fit, and you had to stand out there. You had to work really hard because there was just so much going on there, and it just taught you to never want to be in the corner, never want to be on the rope. Just stay in the centre. It's the only place that you're not going to fall over or get a screw when you hit in the wall. Okay, so I don't really know much about how many fights and what your fighting was like, but what were your early fights like, and how do you think like they shaped you as a person?
Right, so huge kind of range of things. So I started off as a kickboxer. There's a couple different types of kickboxing. So there's the flappy, tippy-tappy kind of scoring points kickboxing.
So that's just, you score only 1 point and then you
stop
separate. Okay.
For me, that was never a real fight, because if you touch me, I want to be able to hit you back. And sometimes, like chess, I'm going to sacrifice a pawn so I can take your queen.
So you have to take one to get it. Sometimes people do,
I've always been, I don't want to say heavy, that's like the wrong term, but I've always been quite a big lad. I'm quite heavy, I'm quite short for my weight. So for in the terms of like MMA, most people now who are welterweight between 6'2" and 6'4", and I'm 5'10". So I'm a lot shorter than most of them. Well, the same thing was that when they've got such a long reach, they'd be able to put a jab out, tap me in the forehead, and I'd have to kind of wait for them to almost hit me to either counter it or use that as my opening to get some kind of traction to move forwards. So there's kind of tips that kickboxing never worked me. So I got into like more full contact and what they call continuous fighting, which is more like an actual, like a boxing battle, basically back and kick. I had about 30 or 40 fights. My kickboxing career was, I thought it was a hit and miss. I think out of all of it, I think it was 38 fights. Out of those 38, I think I lost like 11 of them. So I did pretty well.
So it's just a winning record.
Still on the good side for that. And then after that, I did a few things. I actually did a couple of bare-knuckle bouts back when they first started. That was only because I was mates with travellers. And, you'd end up messing around. And they took a lot of honour and pride in kind of being stand down, going toe-to-toe with each other and stuff like that. And I remember being sat in one of the caravans and they had gloves and they were like, oh, you know how to fight, come on, we'll have a play. And it's just like, this is not going to play. I know this isn't going to be a play. This is going to
live for about 20 seconds.
For about 20 seconds.
Someone lands clean.
Yeah, and then it's going to go like that. So I ended up having a couple of things like that, and a couple of them basically turned around and said like, oh, we do like a couple of bare-knuckle boxing matches, like just to have a go. At the time, a little bit of bravado and a little bit of substance misuse at the time. I was just like, yeah, I've got this. This is fantastic. Again, fast forward on to taking the right hand to the face with no gloves on. I was just like, this is a stupid idea. Why am I doing this to myself?
So at this moment, Gaz knew he fucked up.
Yeah. And especially against those guys, man, they're tough as nails, man. They're tough as nails. Like, it's really weird. So if you're ever fighting a traveller, you don't have to, it sounds really like you can't kill them. You have to kill their soul. You literally have to put part of them out of the fight where they start to doubt themselves. And it's impossible. It's like trying to get blood out of a stone. Like, you literally, like, the fights were unreal, going on for like 15, 20 minutes. Like,
so these weren't in a ring. These are
hay bales, man.
All right, okay. And is there a crowd there? Is there no?
Oh yeah, so some of like a couple of hundred there.
And gambling.
Sometimes like a lot of the fights there that were cool to watch was it would be family versus family.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and it would be such and such family's got a problem with such and such family, and two of their lads have stepped up to fight each other. Like, I've watched some of their fights go on for like 30 minutes. No rounds, like just 30 minutes, just them stood there, hand wraps on, just like the knuckles out, like just hand wraps to protect the wrist and a little bit of the hands. I'm watching those guys just dish out punishment on each other, just bonkers. And I was just like, this is definitely not for me. Like, hats off to them. You know, I would like to say I shy away from a fight, but my partner was just like, these guys are something. These guys.
I'm dying for a go at me, but my mum and my wife's made me promise. Like she set one rule when we got married, and there's no
better.
do whatever fighting you want.
Yeah.
You know, well, you gotta have a break before and after the baby's born. No bare-knuckle, and I'm just hoping that she gets softer in her older years. Like, and I'd like to have at least one bare-knuckle fight just to see how my style goes. But I've seen people have injuries and it's affected their boxing career. Then, so I would probably do it on my last one or two fights.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be doing it
something different on the way out. Right?
Just on the way, just to say I have, like, you know, just. It's just nice to say that I've had a bare-knuckle boxing match. I've done boxing. I've done ABA boxing. I've done a semi-pro boxing. I've been offered a pro contract, so I'll be having pro fights. And then say I've done the bare-knuckle as well.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
But that's how that split I got through my eyebrow. That's why that thing never heals. That's like one of the big things that stopped me going.
Superficial is ridiculous on some of these bare-knuckle fights.
So obviously in pro MMA, you got knees, you got elbows, so they cut you really easily.
Yeah.
That with a 4-ounce glove, man, it gets tapped. It just opens.
And
then it's blood in the eye, and then I can't see, and then it's the referees start getting involved in it. So it's
anything above the eye.
Yeah, so that was bare-knuckle. And then, so the way it used to work in the UK for MMA bouts was you were classed as an amateur, and there was like again a couple of different versions of amateur. Some of them where you weren't allowed to punch the head. You weren't allowed to like punch.
Yeah, I remember these.
Yeah, it was really weird. So basically, what it was like.
Were these like on an open mat?
Yeah, big open mat area. It was like you could smash out each other's bodies, you could throw knees and leg kicks and stuff like that. But you couldn't hit anyone on the head. So it wasn't like you were ever going to finish a fight standing up. It was always going to kind of end up being a bit of a grappling match. Then there was amateurs where you were allowed to hit to the head, but if you went to the floor, you weren't allowed to ground a pound to the head. Like there was like so many different rule sets.
Trying to keep it PGs.
To make it more acceptable.
Yeah.
So at the time to try and get a pro fight was like unreal. But what happened with an amateur fight was that the way it worked is if you won, the reward for winning was you got another fight probably later in the day. I think one of the biggest ones we did was down towards Hereford. That was like Bama. So Bama's.
I remember Bama.
Yeah.
That was when MMA was first coming up. That was quite a
big show. Yeah. They started off as like an amateur grassroots level thing, then down in Hereford, and we fought on their shows down there to kind of get experience. But like some of the guys were going down there, like I think it was Hereford. Like I fought like 4 times or 5 times in one day. So then everyone's like, "Why is your amateur record so huge?" It's like, yeah, well, it's easy to get 200 fights because if you went down there like for one weekend,
and it's so much more regular as well.
Yeah, and literally you just go and go and go. But like, I think we and Richie, the coach from Llandinner, we went down to one in Hereford, and I think like between the two of us, we had like 9 or 10 fights over like a day's period. And it was funny because we went down there, did all this, drove all the way back from Hereford to North Wales. But it was only when we got back to North Wales and sat down to have like a Chinese, like a celebration, that we realised that neither of us could walk properly because we're taking so many leg kicks. Our legs had basically just gone numb, but we managed to drive back from Hereford and like we sat in the Chinese and couldn't move our legs and stuff. And then after literally all these like little amateur fights and stuff, I got given the opportunity with my old coach guy called Mark Ord. Mark Ord was one of the top guys for the police judo. So judo was like the only grappling. You couldn't get a jiu-jitsu coach. There was like no jiu-jitsu coaches. Like you think about our place now, we've got like 6 or 7 good jiu-jitsu coaches. Like to get a good jiu-jitsu coach for us, we had to travel from North Wales. We had to travel all the way to Widnes to be able to get just a blue belt to kind of teach you. That was it. So Mark got an opportunity for me to go and fight up in Cumbria on a pro card. And basically I went up there, did the fight. I don't want to say I won easily because the guy was a southpaw. You know how I feel about you southpaws.
Yeah.
So he caught me with some good shots, and basically I got a big cut, and I got the doctor came in to stop to have a look at it. Was just like, I'm not sure. My corner was like, he's fine. He always gets little cuts. Like, don't worry about him. He's fine. And as they turned around, basically my corner managed to get to me for like 30 seconds. And it was like, look, that referee's dubious about this, and that boxer's dubious about it. If they speak in that first round, they're going to stop it. They're going to have to do something. So basically what happened was I was like, right. So I've just got, I've got like the last 3 minutes of this round. I just need to put this guy away this round. I can't risk it getting to a second round. So I'm probably going to get like stopped. So it came back out. The guy came charging out. I managed to catch a couple of clean punches on him that kind of put him back a little bit. And then I just connected with a massive head kick that knocked him clean out. So I managed to stop it. So I was just like, hey, this is easy. I just knock him out. It's fantastic, this. Then I went up against my second, I went up for my second pro fight, which is against a really good Thai boxer. And again, my coaches now, this is after I left Mark and the lads there. I'm not going to say names because I don't want to put him down, if that makes sense. Like, it was on my own. I should have held my hands up and said that I wasn't capable and ready for it. They put me in for a second bout, which after I found out about this, the guy was like 85-2. He had a huge record. He had basically fought. And my coach was just like, yeah, Gaz will fight and Gaz will knock him out. And then getting into that fight, I can remember this clearly. I had 3 days in an 8-week camp where I sparred. The rest of my time, they were like, you're not sparring. You can do a little bit of rolling. You're not doing any sparring. So I literally went in there just purely unprepared. And ring rust. Well, basically, I went in, realized how good the guy was at stand-up, and I was just like, I'm going to get torn to bits. The guy had, his legs were like the size of my waist. Like, he had the biggest quads I've ever seen in my life. And I shot in on him, grabbed him, took him down, basically dumped him, beat him up a little bit. He managed to get himself back up. I did it again. And I was like, right, cool. Like, I know I can take this guy down. He's got no rest skills. I can take him down. And I think it was the 3rd or 4th one again. This is all a 5-minute round. So scoring 4 takedowns in a round is like a big thing for me. I went in again and I hit him again on the takedown. I got him down. And then literally, they reckon described it. I felt like someone just gave me that leg. And I was like, oh, I've caught my leg. And he started scamming to get away. And as I tried to stand up, basically, my leg was just lying there like like somebody had turned it off. So I was like, what the hell's going on? Obviously, he knew that I couldn't stand up, so he dived on me, threw a couple of punches in, the fight would stop. And I was just like, my leg's not working. This is like weird. So it was like I was even hurt. It was just like my leg's not working.
Just couldn't feel it.
It was like I've gone to sleep. Like if you've put you slept on your elbow.
Yeah.
And like, why is my hand numb? It literally felt like after my whole leg, and I was like, I must have done something. I must have caught something. So I got lobbed in the car with the lads, and they were like, "Oh, it wasn't a terrible fight. It wasn't a terrible fight." And I was just like, "Yeah, that's weird. Like I feel odd. Like I feel weird." And by the time I got home, my entire leg had gone Cadbury's purple from my nuts to my heel, all down the inside. And we're still not sure what happened. And the only thing we could kind of work it out to when we watched the video back was because I was trying to pick him up as fast and as strong as I could, I was exploding at like 100%. And then what happened, we think I ripped the muscles in my groin, basically trying to pick this guy up because he was a big lad. Another thing that came out was it turned out that he never made weight, like him after the fact. But only because his team turned around and said, like, fair play if you're taking the fight, but the guy's nearly 10 kilograms heavier than you. Like,
so you don't really expect that in a professional fight.
No.
Don't get me wrong, you do see it a lot in unlicensed sort of scene, people being a lot, but in a professional you shouldn't.
Well, no,
it was different times back then.
Yeah, it was.
The early days.
It was different, and I think sometimes they struggled to get people to want to fight each other because there wasn't many pros in the UK as it was. So yeah, so that took my leg out, and then on my 3rd fight, basically same thing again. My team like, you don't need to spar, and I was just like, I was completely ring rusty again, and like worked out like in 3 months. I think I'd done like maybe like a dozen rounds of sparring, and it put me in a position where I realized with the team that I was with that they wanted the thing of when they had fighters, they had people doing this, but they weren't out looking after me. Like if I'd gone there and broken my leg, they'd have been like, they wouldn't have cared about it. And part of the thing about for me coming out of this was always making sure that no matter what member of our team, whether it's you boxing, whether it's Stan doing an MMA fight, whether it's Dan doing a pro MMA fight, that I never wanted any of our guys to never go into a bout not feeling ready.
I had to pull Aaron from his fight, but he said, "Oh no, I will fight. I'm just not really feeling it. But if you want me to fight, I will fight." And I said, "He goes, I don't want to let you down." And I said, "Mate, you're not letting me down.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to fight or you don't feel ready," he said, "No, I will do it." And I said, "Mate, I'm pulling you out." Because then just knew we won, but he had so too much respect for me and feeling like I don't give a shit if he doesn't fight or not. I care about the lads in the gym and
it's their journey, isn't it? It's about
if they're not training and they're not fit, even if it's 2 days before, a week before a fight, and I think he's well not ready for that fight, he's getting pulled out of the fight because one, it's our reputation, and two, I want people to be able to say, look, I don't feel ready for this fight, and be able to approach me with them and be able to do that. Because when I was coming up in the boxing, especially in the ABAs, I'd get thrown into one fight, I'd have that, and then I'd still be injured, and then see the week after I'm getting thrown into another one, and I was such a passive that I would never say no, even though I knew I wasn't ready, and I didn't lose any, but like a lot of the fights, like the lad was my last ABA fight, I was on my 15th or 16th fight, and the lads had had 37 fight when there was ABAs twice, and I didn't even know that until after the fight,
Yeah.
and the guy that was coaching would just throw us in because he, that's how he brought up. He was old school boxing. You don't
You
doesn't
just
matter
fight
how
and
many
fight.
fights.
Yeah.
It's different now, and I feel like it's a lot more safer now.
Yeah.
At 1,000,000%.
But this is where I think, like, again, for like yourself and me going back into that situation, I think we're kind of a little bit more on the old school to it. Our coaches, you go like, you've only got cracked ribs, you'll be fine. Like, broken ribs is just something you can just kind of like
Shake off.
and shut you be sound like, just, give it a day or two, you'll be all right, kind of thing. Like, and I think it's changed that you can see that there's almost like a paternal instinct with you that you want to look after the guys. And I'm sure we've both had it with like fighters, pulling out fights, when people going, I've broken a toe, and you're like,
Yeah.
Like, you go, sometimes you're going to go, you just make an excuse, but I'd rather just turn around and go, listen, dude, like, I'm not ready, like, just be able to kind of pull them out of the fight. And touch word for all of our guys, I kind of feel like they know that they're safe, and that though with their coaches, that they also know that we can turn to us and ask for help with other stuff. Like the amount of times I get asked for help with stuff other than just stuff within the gym, advice about work, advice about relationships. I don't know why they're asking me about relationship advice. If you ask my missus, like, she says, I'm probably the one who needs the help and the advice. Like, I try my best by it. But
I think it's just people see how well you work well together. I don't think many people could work with their partner, let alone live with them, work with them,
yeah,
and stuff like that. So people kind of see that, but everyone has the little route.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm known to have the odd one or two.
Yeah, I think you've got to have that little bit of. You've got to both think differently, and different. It's the opposites attract.
Yeah,
but I think, like, again, like with you, Tara, like me and Kaz, it's about the level of love you've got. The relationship is that I know that, okay, I'm big. I'm an MMA fighter. I'm covered in tattoos. I've got bald head, and some days I can just sit there and just go, fuck no. And like, I just give me a hug. I just need you just to give me a hug. That's all right, guys. Don't worry about it. And I'm literally, sometimes I'm like, God, I just feel so much better for that. But I think because we've got that dynamic, I think when people see it in the gym as well, they turn around and go like, well, you guys obviously got your head screwed on. And I think that kind of comes across.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. What's the biggest lesson that fighting's taught you inside and outside of the cage?
Sure, the Rocky quote. About how many times you get knocked down, about how many times you keep getting back up and keep moving forwards. I failed school. I'm not an academic person. Too much autism, too much ADHD. Like, it was never going to be a good combination of sitting quietly in class and learning things off the book. It's never happened. But everything I've done, I've had 2 or 3 successful businesses. I've got the gym now, which is doing really well, but it's doing really well again because of you guys, not just me. But I think that the kind of whole thing of this is all kind of relates to your life, to like my businesses, to everything I'm doing, is that you've got to be resilient. You've got to accept that. The guy who's like a multi-millionaire and he's driving around in the Bentley. All it means is that he's failed 100 times, but he's found one way of succeeding. But if he went, oh well, I failed the first time, gave up, that's it, I'm done. He would never have done it for another 99 times until he found that actual thing that worked for him and made him a success. And I think for me, that what I learned from the kind of like the MMA, the boxing, the kickboxing was, it's all right. It's okay for me to fail and to make a mistake and everything else. It's about coming back and rectifying it. But the big thing as well, and this is the biggest thing I've learned, is owning a mistake. So, prime example, I'll do something, Jim, blah, 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 and go, that was wrong. But rather than turn around and going, oh, Jamie didn't do this, or Dan didn't do that, or Kaz hadn't organised this, I'll turn around and go, actually, yeah, shit, I'm supposed to have done that. Like, and if it was somebody else's job, I should just turn around and check and go, like, oh, Jamie, actually, have you got everything you need to do X, Y, and Z? If I haven't asked you if you've got everything you need, like, kind of the ownership of the mistakes me, because I should.
So that accountability.
Yeah, accountability. Yeah. And the same thing for fighting is like, yeah, I might lose a fight, but I've got to have the humility and the mental fortitude to go, this is an obstacle for me to overcome and come back from. And too many people nowadays quit. So, prime example, I know a person who got given a job abroad, dream job, all paid for, hotel paid for, flights paid for, an amazing job opportunity. But basically, the first little hiccup of an obstacle, they're like, "Oh, this is terrible. This is terrible." It's like the amount of people who'd pay to be in your position right now, and you're getting paid 50 grand a year to be out there in Asia doing this. Like, you kind of need to be a little bit tougher. They crumble. They need to learn to
not fear failure.
Failure's about learning. It's a learning experience, and
Like you win or you lose, don't you? That's what we try and say in the gym.
yeah, you're learning. If you're losing, you're learning. If you're winning, I think sometimes you learn more off a loss than you do from a win. But
I 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%.
Yeah.
That I was actually still talking to Stan about it, and he was saying, I was like, been lucky on your fight, and he was ill and stuff, and he was like, no, he's like, don't say it because I was ill.
Yeah.
He said, but I've learned a lot from that fight.
That one position,
Yeah.
And I think to kind of throw an unpopular opinion is that everyone gets a participation trophy now. Well done. We all did the race, don't we? You get a medal to take part. Well, me and you step in the ring, we go for a boxing now. I've got to understand that one of us is going to lose. Probably me with how your body shots are going at the moment. I've got to understand that one of us is going to lose, but I also have to have the confidence in myself to kind of go out there and put myself out there and be willing to fail to do that. And you don't get that medal for losing a boxing match, for losing an MMA match, for losing a rep match. You don't get that medal for losing. And this is why I think so many kids need to get involved. Like, I think boxing should be taught, not kickboxing, not MMA. I think boxing should be taught in secondary schools.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say this.
Yeah.
Like it should be, I don't know, it teaches you that discipline, doesn't it? And just being sporty, like just
active,
yeah,
interacting with other people, also learn to control your temper.
1,000,000%.
But what happens is they turn around and go, "No, it's all right. You don't want to do any exercise. It's fine. Like, don't do it. Oh, well done. You took part in the race. Everyone gets a trophy." People need to learn. There's going to be winning and losers. You tell me anything that's vaguely competitive in the world where everyone's a winner. It's not how it plays out. And I think that's what the martial arts is about, is that it's about learning to control yourself through all situations. You imagine that something horrible happens to you, road rage incident, someone cuts you up. The amount of times somebody cuts me up and I'm just like, oh, well, what an idiot. If I was just going to fly off the handle and scream and shout all the time, you've spent half your life screaming out of car windows. Yeah. I think people need to learn how to control themselves. And I think that, again, the martial arts can bring that into your life. And, it makes you a better person. So
yeah, 1,000,000%. And I feel everybody thinks they know how to fight until
you get punched in the face.
Until they get punched in the face. And the amount of lads over the years I've seen come into the gym that always thought size matters, or they thought they were handy.
Yeah.
In the street fights and stuff like that, and then they come in and they try and treat boxing like a street fight, and very quickly they come unstuck. But then you'll see some of them go, and you'll never see them again. And then you'll see ones come back and go, I want to learn that. Teach me that. And sometimes what I found is when I used to do the kids classes in the toe-to-toe, the kids that were coming to boxing were not getting into any fights, as where the kids that weren't coming were getting into fights and stuff in school. Because I feel like other kids will leave you alone if you know how to fight and you respect them, or you know how to box, should I say?
Yeah.
Then it just makes you not want to fight, or
you're not
if your kid goes to boxing and people even think about bullying him, they're just going to go, he might fight back and I might come and stuck here, so I'll tell you what, we'll skip him, we'll leave him alone.
Bullies want an easy target.
1,000,000%.
They want an easy target. A bully never goes to start on another bully. They don't go and start on the other big kid. They're going to go for the quiet kid who they think they're going to be able to get an easy time with. And we live in a world nowadays where it's not like it used to be. People, kids need to be able to look after themselves. They need to have a little bit of fun, because the chances are that the person who's out there, that they've done a little bit of something.
Yeah.
But again, it gets me again to say, like, you hear me talk about the police stuff. I've had a really good relationship working with the police over the years, and I've trained with a lot of them, and I've gone to their gym and trained with them there and stuff. And there's quite a few good judo guys from the police and stuff. Is that there's no mandatory jiu-jitsu training, judo training for the police. It was like the police made it basically like a police national judo team. So the whole of Britain's got a judo team, so that the police could learn how to pin people and things like that to arrest them.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, but it's not mandatory. Now, if you know how to pin me to the floor and you know how to do it safely, I'm less likely to get hurt. But the police don't go, well, actually, guys, part your weekly or monthly routine is that, there should be 2 sessions a month where you have to go and do an hour of judo. Even if you're not that good at it, you should go and learn to kind of be able to look after yourself. They should have that ability. They should have that chance.
A bit of knowledge of how to.
Yeah.
Because, I know it's a lot of hip flips and stuff with judo. And once you've got someone in that position, there's not really much they can do. And you're just neutralising the situation, plus safely, because their head's not going to be hitting the floor.
Yeah. But also as well is that you're not having to punch a person to try and defend yourself. Like, this is what I like about kids in jiu-jitsu. If you teach a kid how to take someone down and pin it, and we've had this about 3 or 4 weeks ago, that one of our little kids, and he's a lovely, quietly spoken young man. I think he's about 8, maybe 9. But he's got a friend who's a little bit autistic. He's like, doesn't quite know how to express himself well. And the school bully, who's a couple of years older than him, started on the younger kid. Basically, the lad from our school basically put himself between the bully and his friend and told him to leave him alone. When the bullies grabbed hold of him, Ben's managed to basically take this bully down and basically just sat on him and just pinned him to the floor, and the bully couldn't get up. And because the guys are so used to play fighting coaches and stuff, that he could pin that bully to the floor. That bully didn't get hurt, though the bully threw punches.
He learned a lesson from it, and he hasn't.
Well, I guarantee you, I think twice again before he goes against a kid who's 2 years younger than him.
Yeah.
That hopefully teaches a bully a little bit of humility.
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. So next one, this is one of my favourite ones I want to talk to you about, and I don't know if a lot of people know this about you, but you're a bit of a gun fanatic, and so I just want to know, you're known to enjoy shooting, and like what drew you to that? Where's that all stem from?
Right. So I did a little bit in the army, and then after the army, I did a little bit as a private contractor. Basically the army, but better pay. And I was always like a reasonable weapon handler. So you'll hear people kind of use like the term for like SAS guys in Navy SEALs. You hear them call them like, they're operators. And the joke is it's basically just like, I operate a gun. That's literally it. Like, it's nothing particularly fancy or anything else. But the guys I'd worked with were very experienced guys, like out in New Zealand, SAS. One of the guys I still do some work with in a second business that I've got at the moment, they're SF Special Forces and stuff like that. So I'd always kind of had that interest in kind of being a bit shooting and stuff. And a few years back, just before COVID, a friend of mine basically had an idea of setting up a gun range in North Wales called NWTGR, North Wales Tactical Gun Range. Basically, I helped Ben set up the kind of infrastructure to begin with to get it. And again, it was a bit like everything else that happens with me is that I've been lucky with everything I've had, so I kind of try to pass that luck out. And I basically just helped Ben get hold of some of the rifles and stuff that he needed to be able to kind of open the gun range, so people in the UK could experience what shooting's about. So shooting's very easily kind of like you sit at a table, stand up, shoot down range, all well and good. Well, that's not kind of what happens in like a military experience. A military experience is you're going through doorways, you're clearing buildings, which is where it becomes a little bit more exciting and interesting. It becomes a bit more like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And basically Ben's brought this amazing experience to the UK where you can go and do that. But the problem is that the gun rules in the UK, for good or bad, are like really, really strict. It's really, really hard to have any type of firearm in the UK. Again, I've got access to grind about this one because the guy who interviewed me for my gun license basically didn't know what guns were what. So basically, I give him a list of like these are the things that I want. And if you imagine, like, just to kind of like, not bore your listeners, mate, but basically, you get what they call the 22LR, which is basically it's a glorified air rifle, but fires like a really tiny bullet. It's like the baby bullet.
22 live ammo.
22 live ammo, yeah. Rimfire. It's like a little tiny thing. And basically, he's like, but you want a 22LR here? I was like, yeah, I want it for like vermin control. So I used to go rabbiting. I love like rabbit stew. I eat quite a lot of stuff like that. I kind of do things with. So I want to go rabbiting. And he's like, all right, cool. He's but this other rifle you put down for it was basically for like a 5.56. And I was like, yeah. And he goes like, well, why do you need a 5.56? I was like, well, because when I go shoot goats or foxes or anything else that's bigger, you need something that's got a bit more stopping power. And he's all right. He's why can't you shoot a rabbit with a 5.56? It's like, well, that's like trying to use a tank on people. Like, there's not gonna be any rabbit left. And he's like, yeah, but the rabbit would be dead. And I was like, this isn't about killing the rabbits. This is about, I'm actually going to go and get the meat. I'm going to get the meat and I'm going to use it and stuff. Like, I actually want the animal. I'm actually basically getting my own food. And he's like, all right, then, well, you could just shoot like a fox or a goat with a 2.2. I was like, yeah, but it's so small, it's just going to end up hurting the animal.
It's not,
it's the gun's not big enough. Like the gun's not big enough. Like a goat's head's like a brick. You know what I mean? Like the muscle, the shoulder blades, they're tough animals. You need a big bullet. And he's like, yeah, but you could just use, surely you could just use like tin rifle for both. And I was just like, you don't understand about what the caliber of firearm is. And he was like, well, no, not really. I was like, how much shooting do you do? He's all, actually, none. I was like, so you're asking me why I need this stuff, like why I'm going to do this, but the person who interviewed me doesn't know what he's on about. And I was just like,
stress.
It was a bit of stress. Like, so I had a really good conversation with the guy. And he fully understood. And part of me still thinks to this day that I think he was trying to blag me a little bit to see if I knew what I was after. But he kind of put me
also like playing them
a little bit,
seeing what your reaction to that.
Yeah, see if I knew what I was all about. And that was going back like years and years ago now. So it was like, okay, so I did that. And I used to go like all farms and stuff like that. Did quite a lot out about. But I relinquished like all my firearms. Like there's like a lot of problems with like firearms and stuff in the UK. So I relinquished all my firearms a fair few years ago, basically, and let my licenses lapse. And the inability to shoot in the UK, basically, this is what that kind of whole NWTGR kind of fills that gap. You get a chance to go and have an experience. So it's not like Ben's going to teach you, right, we're going to blow these doors off and we're going to abseil out the helicopter. Like, he just teaches you safe ways to use these platforms, these 6-hour platforms that you use. It's really good. He teaches you how to use those. We kind of teach you how to go through buildings and work as a team and stuff. We give you a bit of experience of what it would be like to be like John Wick for a day, or like be a member of the SES or Navy SEALs for a day. It just kind of gives you like a bit of a good day out. And then randomly Ben got approached by a company out in Poland where they wanted to be able to get groups to come in from abroad to use their firing ranges to teach and stuff. So basically I went out there with Ben and kind of helped the foundation of setting up like this abilities for the course. Now, to be fair, Ben and the team there now, like he's got like a really strong team of guys who are there all the time. Like again, I don't have enough time to do as much as I'd love to, but a lot of the guys there, they go out to Poland like once a month and they go shooting in Poland. And in Poland,
it's quite big. I know a lot of people that go to Poland to shoot, and that it's quite big there, isn't it?
Huge. It's like a huge thing. So out there you can open.
Did you not go? Did you go not long ago?
Yeah. Well, I would have been going a little bit sooner than that, but it turned out that when we got to the airport, my fiancé Caroline, it turned out her passport was expiring 2 days after we came back. So we weren't allowed to fly out of the country, so it would have been a bit sooner.
No way.
And it's been a bit of an ongoing joke that Kaz's passport ran out. Like, we fixed it now, but it was a bit of a joke that kind of ran out because we were literally waiting to board the Ryanair flight to fly out, and basically it just got stopped at the gate at like 5 in the morning and couldn't fly out. So it was a bit of a.
She is a really, really switched on person, and
oh yeah,
I feel like something like that would should be on that straight away. And
neither was noticed because it was a group flight booking.
Oh, okay.
We didn't actually put our details in. They basically just entered our details and stuff. And it's just a bit. But yeah, the guys by the time out in Poland, you can go out and buy, you can shoot rifles, pistols, handguns, AR-15s, Uzis. And basically, you get to go out there and learn how to shoot these guns in a safe environment with qualified instructors on a range where you can't really kind of go wrong in a hurry. They'll teach you how to do stuff. And he runs like a couple of different courses. But the joy of it is we get to go out there and you get to like do these target shoots and stuff. And there's different variations of speed shooting. There's all sorts of like weird and wacky things you've got to do. But for me, this is kind of brings it kind of a bit full circle for me, is that everything I do, whether it be high rocks, CrossFit, MMA, jiu-jitsu, everything else, it's an expression of the sport and the stuff I learned. You've got amazing footwork. I could teach you to shoot really, really well, and it would become like a little challenge for you, like a little competition for you, because your footwork's got to be perfect for your balance to be in the right place, for the rifle to point in the right direction and stuff like that. It all kind of correlates across, where these things can basically become like, it becomes the expression of how fit and how great you are, how much dexterity you got. This becomes like the output of it. So there's like little things you can do where they'll have like 7 targets, and the last 2 targets, whichever one gets shot first, will hit the floor first, and the other one will land on top of it. So me and you can race. So you'll have your pistol in your holster, and they go shoot, stand by. You just do it. Beep. We've both got to pull our pistols, chamber around, hit 7 targets, and who can do it faster.
I'll have that little bit of competitiveness as well. I'm like that.
Yeah.
But what you were saying there brings me on to the next question, which was, do you see any similarities between like firearms training and martial arts training, like in focus and the mindset? Because obviously you have to be disciplined, but it's can't be messing about in you know, if you mess about in MMA and boxing, you do end up getting hurt. If you mess about with guns or not taking it serious, you're probably going to end up hurt.
To put it across to a weird kind of correlation of think of it all across, is that if I said to you, if you were to think about a quintessential martial arts image and to kind of go speak to anyone about martial arts in general, so I class boxing as martial arts, kickboxing is martial arts, jiu-jitsu is martial arts. If I said think of like, you know, something a bit traditional, a bit old, the first thing that springs to most minds is a samurai. They've got the armor, they've got that face mask that makes them look like they're a demon, they've got a sword. But they weren't just warriors, they were soldiers. That's the whole idea. All this is, again, is about everything that we would do to teach someone how to throw I know we're doing check hooks, we were talking about check hooks. Throw a check hook. They've got to do that repetition 100 times to be able to be good at it. Well, the same thing with the rifle, to draw a pistol, chamber around, to get on target, to squeeze 2, maybe 3 rounds off into a target and get them accurately, takes repetition and practice. But it also takes a singular focus where your brain can't be anywhere else. You have to be on task and present. And I think a lot of people, for their mental health, they struggle with either being stuck in the past or worrying about the future. They're not actually ever here and now. And with the pistol shooting, you've got to be present to be good at it. And this is basically, for me, is just the Navy SEALs, the SES guys, these operators and stuff, they're basically just like modern samurais. The only difference is instead of using the sword, they're using an AR-15, and, you know,
it's modernized.
It's just modernized. Again, I also think as well that here's the big thing is that, you know, with all the troubles that happen in the world now, I have the utmost respect for what a firearm can do. I know that hitting someone on the street could hurt and kill someone's life, destroy my life because I've hit someone. I have a fear about hitting people, so much so that if a street competition happened, I'm happy to walk away from it rather than get involved in a situation that could end, you know, horrendously badly for me and the person I end up hitting. The same thing with a firearm. I'm so used to using them. I'm really kind of like respectful of it. Like, I'm worried about what it can do to each other, and I don't think that people kind of fully understand
the full extent of what.
Yeah, you know, and this is my take on it. I know, again, this is like dividing opinions, and this is one of the things I love about the kind of podcast and stuff is that you get to put across your side of things, and I'm sure there'll be people online going, this is like, he's a redneck gun nut. Yeah, I drive a pickup truck as well. Like, let's just stereotype that a little bit more. Like, if we were to say, okay, every firearm, every gun, rifle, everything else in the UK is bad. And the prime example is you still get a rifle, you can still get a shotgun. Very, very hard to get hold of. But it's more or less impossible to get a license for a pistol. More or less impossible. When they made pistols banned, they made them illegal to have a pistol. It was only the good people like me, Richard, Danny, who were, we can't have pistols anymore, take them off our license. We handed them in to get cut up. Basically, they basically put a grinder through to break them. Well done, like all you law-abiding citizens handed over your pistols. They handed over all the handguns that are illegal. Do you think one criminal, one gangster, one Albanian drug dealer was going to go, oh yeah, it's illegal now, I better go and give it my guns?
Not a chance.
Not a chance. Every single one.
Supplying piss.
Yeah, Yeah, they've all kept all those firearms. So they turn around and go, oh, there's not as much guns in the UK.
And I guess the value of them then skyrockets as well. So
No, because they're still really easy to get hold of for people. Um, we took a group from Speak Over shooting, and they were saying about all these guns in like Liverpool worth this amount. And it was really interesting because one of the little kind of plastic gangsters, for a better word, he was like, it's not. Because I can get hold of like a handgun for like 300 or 400 quid in the UK. 300 or 400 quid.
it's nothing.
It's nothing. Like for somebody who's selling a couple of ounces of coke a week to have to buy themselves a handgun, it's nothing. It's not really a huge expense.
No.
You know, I spend all that on food a month. You think that banning it in the UK is going to make anyone any safer? Bad guys are still going to have guns. You know, kids are still going to carry knives. It needs to be re-educated about the dangers of it rather than, you know, turn around and go, oh, it's just legal. They need to be educated on why it's dangerous, the effects it have on people's lives and stuff like that. That's the
That lack of education, isn't it?
dude, yeah, perfectly summed up. Like, it's the lack of education. You know, you turn around like, who did I body shot the other day for not booking in?
Ethan.
Ethan, yeah, Ethan. He will always respect the body shot moving forwards.
He remembered to book in next time.
And he'll remember to book in the next time. Yeah?
Yeah.
But he'll respect that every single time now. Whereas if you turn around to the dodge and get punched in the face or punched in the stomach, most people do all punched in the stomach. Part of me goes like, I don't know, you know, this is like a proper 50-50 thing. He's now got to fear it. He now respects that. He now respects it. Do people need proper education on what the dangers are of it? Not necessarily the tool. It's about the person holding it. They need to be better educated.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next bit, which is your fiancé and that CrossFit life.
Yep.
I'd never ever done any CrossFit until I got involved with you, and I remember Ezra approaching me and he said, "Listen, there's a CrossFit competition in 2 days. Cal said you'll do it," and I was like, "Oh yeah, sound." I didn't really. I've seen a little bit of CrossFit workouts, but I didn't know what this high rocks was. And anyway, we practiced it the day before, but not fully. And that was genuine. That was one of the best things I've ever done. I'm really good at running, so I thought, oh, this high rocks is just like it's a kilometre running between each exercise. Oh, I'll smash that. The first thing was the assault bike. My legs were absolutely dead. But like you were saying with that, like, because with you, I always wanted you to do well. But when I knew you went before me,
you wanted to beat my time. So badly.
I wasn't bothered if I came first out of that whole competition. All I was bothered that I beat you. Like that, and that's literally what I was running on through that competition. It was just that great. I was like, guys can't have gone faster than this, and I was pushing. But you're like the Terminator when when I think he's conditioned to this, and me and Ez were doing it. It was a team. Who was you with?
I think I was those.
Yeah.
I think
I just wanted to beat you, but like it's that healthy competition, even though you're both older and me and as we were younger, I had such a good day with that, and just the amount of top athletes and stuff. And that was my first little taste of like CrossFit and stuff like that. And I didn't realize how like Kaz kind of turns into like this little machine. She's obviously in the gym, I know when she's training, but she's just so nice and stuff. But she turns like she goes into like that sport. I guess we do when we go for a fight and we go walk into the cage. He's switching on. Yeah. That is there. Because I had the nerves like I was going
to fight. Yeah.
And she's so competitive and she's really, really good at what she does. And this is kind of your life. So you're engaged to a CrossFit champion. What's it like sharing a life and a business with someone who is just as driven, if not more? She's really, really. This is what I mean when she's really highly driven.
So we do make a bit of a joke about it. We say like that. I'm the coach. She's the athlete. Well, that's how we met stuff. Kaz is. If I said she's wired differently, she's wired like you guys. She's wired like a fighter. So Kaz started off as like a club swimmer. So like she was doing competitive swimming. So she was training 2.5 hours a day. I think it was 5 or 6 days a week. She had to be in the pool by 5 a.m. every day. Now, bear in mind that Kaz lived 45 minutes away from the pool. So she'd have to go in, Because I have to swim for an hour to an hour and a half before school, and mile and a half, 2 miles in the morning, go to school all day, 8 hours, go back in, do another hour, hour and a half at night. And like she's wired to kind of like be able to kind of like, you need to put this hard work in. She's just got that ethic that she'll work harder than everyone else in the room at everything she does. It makes my life very, very easy because I never have to supply her with any motivation. I never have to turn around and go, why aren't you training today? Generally speaking, it's I have to go, you train Monday, you train Tuesday, you train Wednesday, are you training today? She'll be like, oh, it's Thursday, I was just going to do this and this. And it's like, okay, like, what's your recovery telling you? Where are we at and everything? Like, what was your diet like? How well did you sleep last night? Now you kind of have to go, well, maybe you need to have an easier session today. Telling her to have an easier session is petrifying. She literally looks like I'm trying to take chocolate out of a baby's hand. Like, she just gives you that look like, what do you mean I can't train?
I'm telling a woman to calm down.
Oh, mate, I'm not that brave. I'm not that brave. No. So it's more the other way. I've got a couple of, like, I've got you, I've got the MMA coach, and I've got Kaz, who, you three, I have to say, do you need to have like a day off? Do you guys need to take a rest day? Do you need to recover properly? That's very, very few and far between. There's very few people that you have to kick out of a gym. 9 times out of 10, you have to drag people in.
Yeah.
Kaz's mentality in CrossFit is that she always wants to be improving. She's always on it all the time. Like, at the moment now, she's doing high rocks, which is like a long endurance event type runs. Then she does like these CrossFit competitions. So she's got a CrossFit competition coming up in about 2 or 3 weeks, like beginning of August. And she's training. She gives the discipline to train something. Now, Kaz would train anyway, but if you give her the set thing that she's got to go and do, she'll kind of gear her training towards that. It's impressive to watch. Single-minded, goes after it. I think if she'd have found fighting, she would have been a brilliant fighter. And she has actually even voiced the thing that she would like to do. She'd like to do some sparring or jiu-jitsu, but she knows herself that to go to the addictive personality, and I think this is why you two get along as well. She's got that addictive personality that she wants to do it and be okay.
She wants to excel at it.
Yeah, she wants to be amazing at it, and I think she would be just by pure determination that she'd go until she gets it. So she kind of had to make a bit of a decision on what she kind of wanted to put her energy in. Kaz's thing for her was the CrossFit. So for me, like I said, I'm 46 now. I do the CrossFit so that I can do everything else. A good example of this was we did a training exercise with a load of like army guys, and we were doing like these exercises with them, kind of like, these are the shooting drills, we're doing this. Right, we're going to pretend that this person's been shot. What do you do to respond to it? We're watching guys having to try and drag him and saying, right, there's only 2 of you who are trying to get this one guy out of it. How are you going to move? I'm watching guys struggle move like another person. And even though I had like 15 years and all, I was the only person who could pick the big guy up off the floor, get him on my shoulders. And I deliberately ran him around. They call it a CQ house, like close quarters house. I ran him around the close quarters house on my shoulders twice just to prove a point. And I was just like, I've got 15 years on all of you guys, and I've got all the same body armor on, and still carrying my rifle and his rifle, and still carrying it. Like, you guys should all be capable of this. I do it so that I can do these random things. I do it so that I can go on the mats and do jiu-jitsu. The CrossFit for me is strength and conditioning, not for purpose anymore, it's for longevity. I want to be able to go out and run. I can go out, I can still run. I want to be able to row 2 kilometers in under 7 minutes. That's like my kind of like my general markers that I know I'm good. I'm okay.
Right, decent.
Yeah, I'm at a decent level. Even with after going back from a back injury, I can still deadlift 200 kilos. I can still back squat, double my body weight. I can still do snatches, clean jerks, pull up, handstand walks. I can still do all these random things that basically my body's able to express like physicality in whatever way I decide to do it. I don't want to be a 50-year-old who's old. Like, if you took
50 years young, yeah.
Yeah, 50 years young.
Yeah.
Like, if you took me to when I was 20 and you said to me somebody was 40, I think like even in my early teens, like I didn't like someone who's 40 is pretty much old.
Yeah.
At 50, oh my god, they should be in like a retirement home. They're that old. And I was thinking about this, like that my grandparents died when they were 66, but they were grandparents. They were proper Welsh, grey-haired grandparents, shuffled around the house and stuff. And like they're 66. I've got my mum now who's like in her 70s, my dad is in his 80s. And my dad's on 5 litres oxygen a minute, but my dad's still got a treadmill in the living room that he goes to try and use every day to try and keep walking because he doesn't want to lose his inability to walk and get out. My mum's 70 odd, she goes to the gym twice a week and does circuits with one of the best weightlifters that Wales produces, a guy called Ray, over in Holyhead. So she goes and does gym with him twice a week. She goes to line dancing. She goes to all these things. Again, she's 70 years young.
Yeah.
You know, she's out and doing all this stuff. What that is for me is that I'm 46 now. I've got 4 years till I'm 50. At 50, I want to be the guy who's still able to run, who's still able to lift weights. I want to be, fit and healthy for the rest of my life, not just, oh, well, I passed my 20s, now it's time to hang up my hat kind of thing. I want to be fit and healthy. Kaz is still mega competitive. She wants to be like the best at everything she does, and it's cool to watch her go up against 20-year-old girls and still be able to win and get podiums and stuff. And for CrossFit as well, there's a couple of different kind of variations for like CrossFit and High Rocks where there's individual competitions, pairs competitions, there's teams of 3, but there's also team ones. So like we went out and did like one of the big team ones where it's a team of 12, and they asked me to go in on that, and it's really cool for me because it gives me a chance to kind of compete alongside my fiancé, which is quite, I think, can you imagine trying to box in the same card as Tara?
Yeah, the only thing I can kind of explain with that is that she does my corner, is being involved, and I kind of love that.
But now imagine you have to stand in the corner and she puts the gloves on to go in the ring.
Yeah,
it's a different sensation. It's a different thing. But being out there and watching Kaz and cheering her on, it's still quite nerve wracking for me. But being out there on the floor and able to do a competition with her, it's a shared experience. Where like there's been like a couple of ones where like we've been doing stuff and like I'd have to do stuff and I'd have to dive her and give Kaz like a high five and Kaz would jump on the floor and do it. And some of the ones where you have to do things like in synchro, like toes to the bar or bar muscle ups, where we've got some brilliant competition photos where me and Kaz are wearing like our vests from the team we're on. We've both done a muscle up, we're both over the top of the bar, and we're both just looking at each other, locking eye contact, and doing basically muscle up, making eye contact. We both knew that we were in synchro the whole time.
Getting that rhythm. I can't imagine you get many moments in life like to do something like that. Just both be into the same thing.
Yeah, and then like there's a brilliant picture that in the gym over at towards St. Helens Way that we represented that one. When I came off it, like the one last bit I had to do by myself, basically I had to run and dive over a bar, like kind of like for the timers to stop. And as I dived over the time, basically like there's a brilliant picture of me basically being upside down, curled up in a ball to dive, and all the team have run across like congratulating me, and they're all just like shaking me on the floor. And it's like there's a brilliant picture of it because Kaz is there, and Kaz is like, everyone else is happy and excited that I finished. Kaz is smiling at me. That's a really beautiful shared experience that you're not going to get with anyone else. Where if I turn around and say, "Oh, come watch me play football on Sundays," she would. I know she would. But it's not the same thing of, me passing the ball to her and her scoring a goal, or like, that kind of like level of interaction with each other. It's just, it's really fun. And then working together now there's difference. This is like a big step. This is something actually not many of you guys know about mine. So Kaz is in the process now. She's having a conversation with her work about whether she can either drop to part-time or probably next week she's quitting. She's going to quit and come like all in on the business with us, which is quite a stressful thing for us to kind of do because
it's a risk. You've got a job there that's guaranteed set money every month, no matter what. Jumping into a job that, you can make more money, plus you're not really going to it because you're enjoying what you're doing. And that's the main thing. But it comes with that large element of risk.
Huge risk, mate. Huge risk. Like, if I make a mistake, it could affect both of us now. But I was literally having a conversation about it and just saying to Kaz that realistically, as it stands now, there's you, there's Dan, Bex works out of his part-time, Kane's recently quit his job and gone, he's realised that he can pretty much get by just by doing personal training. It's like, why do I want to go sit on a bus for 9 hours a day when I can literally come to the gym to do 2 or 3 hours worth of personal training? I'm no worse off. I'm training for 2 or 3 hours, hanging out with friends. I'm teaching people martial arts. I'm teaching people some kickboxing. I'm teaching people how to go off and do some deadlifting and squat and stuff. And I'm really enjoying my job. There's no, I've got to get people to sit in the office. He's enjoying it. So I was like, well, without being rude, I've kind of Like I know I'm like a bit of I'm the gym granddad or a bit of a gym dad, so what you guys. I've already kind of got responsibility for you guys. You know, if anything goes wrong, there's you with boxing lads, there's Dan and the MMA lads, there's Becky and all the jiu-jitsu and the kids. You know,
There's a lot of like what I said in the intro. You know that it is a burden as well as
a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people look up to you, and it's nice to have that and feel valued and feel like what people get out of me being alive on this planet. There's a lot of people like it, a lot out of me, but then you've got the flip side of all these people are relying on you. Because if you had to say if something happened and I couldn't teach there anymore, or any of us couldn't teach, there's over a few hundred people that are going to lose their place to train. And I know a lot of people that they don't come to my classes or your classes to fight. They come, it's mental health for a lot of them.
Huge part.
And that would have a knock-on effect to them. So there is that lot of pressure. And that's without going into it, or you have to earn your money for food and stressing about that, and your rent needs to pay in, and your cars need paying.
Yeah, and then you get a flat tire on the car, and you're like, oh my god, I've got to try and replace that stuff. But what I said to Kaz was that I'm already taking responsibility for a lot of people who are my adopted family, and it's like, well, she's my father. She's, as far as I'm concerned, she's my wife. You know, we've been together that long. She's pretty much my wife. We just haven't gone through the thing of, buy Red Wing. I've got to apologise to her several times over because every time we get to a point where we're like, we can afford to get married.
Something great.
Although I tend to buy gyms, that seems to be my go-to. Is that I seem to invest in gyms and kind of go, we'll get a bigger, better gym, or we'll buy this. Don't get me wrong, it's done great for us, but like it always kind of, rather than getting married, kind of, like I say, investing in gyms and getting bigger gyms. So I've taken responsibility for so many other people. I'm taking responsibility for everyone else. I've got a level of responsibility and care for all of you guys and stuff, and for you, Tara, and baby on the way and stuff. Like, I kind of feel like a level of responsibility to all you guys. I'm just like, she's my wife. Like, it's no different that I can take a little bit of responsibility for her and kind of bring her on board and let her have the love and freedom of the job that she wants to do, because she loves working with people. She likes helping people. But if you're pulling an 8-hour day and then you're trying to get 2 hours of your own training, that's 10 hours of your day, kind of like your energy spent up. Then when you come in and go, can you teach me to deadlift? She's like, yeah, Jay.
Anyone that is a personal trainer, it is hard takes a lot of energy to motivate people. If you've got someone that's come in, like you say, they've just worked an 8-hour day and they've got no energy, they need to feed on your energy.
Yeah, you're supplying. Yeah.
Like, and if you have to pretend that energy sometimes you just have to muster it up, because they're not going to get a good session if you're just, oh yeah, go on, 1, 2, pads, 1, 2.
You've got to be a dancing monkey.
Yes, they have to feed off your energy. So then by the time they get to the end of the session, they're like, that was a
good workout.
And it takes a lot out of you. Yeah. Like sometimes, you can do a couple of one-to-ones, or I can go and teach my class. And, there's 15, 20 people in a class. I'm just doing that 1 hour of trying to interact with everyone, making sure every single person, because when I was boxing, only the good people got the attention.
Yeah.
Only the good fighters got the attention. And that's one thing that I said when I approached you about coming to work for you, was one of my rules I wanted to do for myself was, it doesn't matter if you're not fighting, because it doesn't matter if you're not boxing. For me, every gym that I've been to, if you're not a fighter, you're not getting any attention.
Yeah.
And I found that, I've seen people play off and it affects them. So I try and make sure everyone gets a little slice of me. Everybody gets a little bit of energy. I teach a little bit of technique as well. I probably graduate towards people that need the technique more now. And that just takes your energy a lot. So I can just imagine her, in the swimming pool. I don't know what it is about swimming pools, but you're just in there for an hour and you're knackered. And I used to go and watch my son swim. Think
about it. It's like, it's 30 odd degrees now.
It's hot.
So if you were on holidays and when you were sat in the sun for 30 degrees, you're going to be sweating, you're going to be hot, and everything else. And then if I turn around to you and said, right, you've got to try and teach a class in that heat as well. She's there for 8 hours. It's a lot of her energy getting used up. That energy can be used on helping people. How many times could she message, phone someone, drop someone a text, help somebody else out with a bit of diet advice, little things, put some social media posts up, reply to a message. There's so much the business needs. And having Kaz on board is such a help, because the amount of times I need to go and do these jobs, and Kaz will be like, I can get those done today, don't worry about it, I'll do them. but she's doing that on top of an 8-hour day, on top of 2 hours of her own training, on top of maybe half an hour of an hour, like helping somebody else. So like last week, my nephew and his missus joined our gym, and they've not really done much before. So they wanted like a little bit of practice. So they did the workout. I'm like, oh, Kaz, can you just got 15, 20 minutes just to kind of show us that bit you did in the class, just so we can practice it and just kind of get it right. Well, that meant she did 10.5 hours that day, you know, and then did you get your time to eat, rest, chill out, you know, probably get your kids, get home, get shower, get changed, have some food, watch it, and maybe an hour or something on TV, and like, right, kids, go to bed. I just want to take her away from that. I think she deserves more than that. So
I think people will get. I think they get a good version of it anyway. But she's always she's so good with people. And you know, Tara's grown quite fond of her. But she's when Tara first started coming to the gym, she was like, "Oh, I don't think she likes me." And I said, "No, it's not that." I said, and then once she took the time to get to know her and stuff like that, and come into the wedding and that, you see that different side to her, and I feel like she'll be able to put more of herself into it, because it's that working in the pool is just that's draining fuel tank before she's
even through the door,
Yeah,
it's strange to say because like a lot of people, like one of the tricks I've done is obviously owning gyms a bit problem. So like if I'm in there and I'm training when anyone else is in there, you'll be surprised how many times people want to come across and just chat and just say hello. And it's hard for me to get training sessions. So I bought like a big set of headphones like these, so that basically if they saw me on a rowing machine or they saw me on a treadmill, I could be on a rowing machine. I'm going blasting that thing like I'm literally trying to kill myself, and people will literally walk up to me and go, "Did you watch the Formula One on Saturday?" I'm literally making noises like I'm giving birth, and this person wants to chat about the Formula One, and I was like, he can't do it. But like basically having these huge headphones on, basically get people trying to it's deterring people go, oh, he's obviously training, he's got his headphones on, he's obviously paying attention. Whereas a lot of people when they go in and they see Kaz in a class, they don't differentiate between Kaz is training, Kaz is coaching. And you see the difference is that when Kaz is coaching, like you said in the competition, she kind of goes, ha.
Yeah.
Like locks in, she turns into the Terminator. And you'll see it like she just did another race the weekend, and basically there was a girl who was a competitive runner. And it turns out this girl's like a really competitive runner. In fact, at the same event, there was like a load of female boxers who were all like ranked in the UK, kind of female like ABA boxers and all sorts, like some really good girls, like really smart girls. Like Kaz was just like, oh, this girl's in my heat. And they're like, so and so. She's like a ex-competitive runner for like, you know, for England. She did this. And Kaz's like, oh, she's a competitive runner. They're like, yeah, she's gonna be fast. And then you can see Kaz like, well, that's my target. And Kaz was basically locked onto this girl, and this girl was basically just not getting away from Kaz. Kaz is not a runner; she's a swimmer.
Yeah,
and she's learned to do CrossFit. She's not a runner. She was just determined this girl was not getting away from her. So Kaz basically pushed and ran, and her and a partner who did the workout again, they were in the 40+ category of wherever it was. They beat all of the teams, including the teams that were in the 20+ category. They beat everyone. So not only did they win like the Masters division, they actually won the Youngsters division as well. Because basically Kaz just determined that this blonde girl wasn't getting away from her. So Kaz just chased her down. And I think like Tara coming into the gym, Tara would have met Kaz training, and Kaz is in Terminator mode where she's, you know, she's locked onto her target. That's what's happening today. Whereas when you realise she's just in there and she's just having fun and she's being a goofball, that's what I think Tara realised, that when Tara started coming in and out the gym a bit more and Kaz wasn't lifting a barbell and she wasn't on the clock.
Yeah.
She wasn't on the clock, that Kaz could take the mic and take the time to come over and go, oh, how many weeks gone here now? Where are we up to? Like, looking forward to the wedding. Like, Kaz suddenly had time to be able to sit down and chat, and Tara, I think, kind of warmed up because she realised that, you know, Kaz was off the clock and not working anymore.
Yeah, 100%. So, where did the idea of opening a CrossFit gym, because every boxing gym I've ever trained in, I've had to do my boxing in one place. And then my strength and conditioning has always been somewhere else. So when I came to work for you, I half expected you to still be in the small, the kickboxing, but the cage took up pretty much most of the space.
Yeah. So for us as a gym, like we kind of encourage people to do like strength and conditioning, because we know how important it is for people to be strong and fit and healthy.
And it is highly neglected as well in by a lot.
Oh, perfect. Now that's the prime of you there. It's highly neglected, but why is it neglected? Okay,
It's
so
hard.
it's hard, but not only is it hard, is that you go to the gym by yourself, with no instruction, no tuition.
Yeah.
You're never going to become the boxer you are today without people helping you learn how to be a boxer, coaching you, developing you. You're never going to learn how to do strength conditioning, how to squat properly and lift properly without the coach who takes time to turn around and go, I'll spend 10 minutes to teach you how to do that properly. Then you put on top of that, well, now we're paying our boxing fees, we're paying our match dues like you used to do back in the day. And I could afford to pay for my kickboxing classes, or I could afford to pay for a gym. I couldn't afford to pay for both. So what ended up happening is we'd end up paying for our boxing classes because that's where we wanted to learn to box. And our strength and conditioning would end up being sit-ups, squats, press-ups, burpees, maybe some pull-ups if there was a pull-up bar, or if there was a bag that'd been pulled down, we'd end up using the punch bag bracket sticking out the wall for doing some pull-ups on and stuff. And that became our strength and conditioning because we couldn't afford any kit to use it.
Yeah.
How many fighters, how many people who could have been world champions have turned around and gone, I've got to choose between the gym or kickboxing, right? Like, and they make one or the other. And then their wife goes, well, I think we should go to the gym together. And they go, well, I can't go kickboxing. I can't afford to pay both.
Yeah.
So the idea for us was, well, why should we have that all in one place? There's bound to be more people like me out there who want to do jiu-jitsu, want to do kickboxing, want to do CrossFit, want to do high rocks, but can't afford 4 or 5 gym memberships. The idea was to put it all in one place, that they had everything you could possibly need. And don't get me wrong, there's still stuff that I want to get for the gym. You know, there's still things that I want to develop. You know, and again, little things like I want to replace the floor in the boxing ring and stuff like little bits that I want to do. I want it all in one place. So there's never a point where someone goes, oh, do you know what we're missing is, you know, do you know what we really need is? I want to be able to have our lads have everything they could possibly have. And they don't need to go anywhere else, that they have world-class physiotherapists, world-class personal trainers, they have boxing coaches, they have kickboxing coaches, jiu-jitsu coaches, MMA coaches, running coaches, whatever you need, it's all under one roof and you get all of the help you want. I mean, you look at Dan took 13 fighters to the last show over in Carnarvon. 13 fighters, 13 wins.
Yep.
All out one place. Out of a small gym back here. But
That's how we've got a good work ethic there though. All the coaches there, we do.
Oh, yeah.
We demand, like, I don't like expect people to be the best in the world, but I just want them to do their best. And I know what someone's best is, and I know if someone's, because I've been there, I've given myself an easy time. I've not trained as hard as I could, but then when I've gone to certain fights, I've nearly lost, you know, and I've lost one fight, and I always remember that. It did give me a kick up the arse to start training more. But as long as people do their best, I don't compare this person to that person to that person. I just compare them to how they done last time.
Yeah, who they are.
You know, we've got a good like how you do the CrossFit and the coaching and that. It follows down through the chain. And
yeah, we all coach to a high standard. You know, how many times can you go to a gym and go to practice, but you're not actually getting anyone help you and develop you? And you're spotting mistakes with people that you remember, that you go, so-and-so's not doing this, so-and-so's not doing that. Matt does this, Harry does that. And you end up helping them and kind of making sure that they learn those.
As long as they're progressing and putting that work in.
That prime example of this is like, you think of Aaron.
Yeah.
You know, when he joined up, I would never have seen him box. I would never have seen him competing in boxing in front of a whole stage of people, bringing his family to watch. Aaron comes to CrossFit classes as well. He's the prime example of what it is. Again, he might have gone to a gym and done a little bit of bench press and stuff, but he would never come in and done like a CrossFit class and a high ups class. I've seen that boy out running with people who do, you know, full on CrossFit, full time, all the time, and Aaron keeping up.
And he does it before the boxing class and then joins in.
And then does the boxing class afterwards.
Well,
you know, and you look at the difference in him. Look at the difference in him. And he's one of my favourite stories because it's easy to get somebody to come through the door and you're like, oh, that guy's going to be a good fighter. That guy's, you know.
He was, I'll be honest, when he first come in, I didn't think he had a chance. And then,
what a guy.
But do you know what? Everything you say to him, he listens. And, you know, I gave him, I remember saying to him, I think you're going to be ready to fight soon. And he just looked at me and he went white.
Yeah.
And he went, what? Like box fight? Like, and I was like, yeah. And he was like, oh, no, I don't know. I said, listen, I will not put you in the ring if I don't think you're ready. And, you know, I lied to him. I said, the lad you're fighting, he's only had one fight and he'd had three.
Yeah.
But I knew that he was on that level. And to be honest, I thought he won that fight, and I borrowed him my shorts. I had the Colonel on them, and I said to him, listen, I had these shorts made when my old man died, so there's no pressure, but nobody's ever lost in them. So
it's a good luck charm.
and it was like, oh, and now he's got the Colonel written on his own shorts that he's made, so he's kind of took the nickname from that. But you know what? When I take him to the show and that, the guy that he was fighting was all like, he had tan, covered in tattoos, fake teeth, and he just looked at it like, you know, and he was like, oh, I'd seen him, Tara seen him go over to his girlfriend and say, oh, I'm going to smash him like that, and he just had a fake, and Aaron was proper boxed really well, and everyone when he left, everybody was like, oh mate, what an amazing fight. My mum was buzzing. She said, he's amazing, he's going to go far. And you would never have thought that, like you say, 12 months before that.
Before his dad, his mum and dad gave me the biggest hug I've ever had of anyone after that fight. They literally basically both of us. I've only ever met them like once passing, and they gave me like a massive hug. And they were like, all the stuff you guys have done with, like, thank you so much. Like, he's like a different man. And how many lives can you change that way? Like, don't get me wrong, is he ever going to become a professional boxer? I don't think so, but I don't think he has the interest in doing that either. But he comes in, carries himself a little bit taller, carries himself a little bit prouder, feels a bit more confident in everything he does, and he's proved to himself that he can turn his hand to boxing, turn his hand to CrossFit, turn his hand to these things. You know, that's going to carry with him for life.
And he started staying behind now. So once I finished the class, he's staying behind and coaching people and holding pads for them, and you know, that's that thing. I've taught him that, and now he's going to teach it to someone else, and that person will teach it to someone else, and it's just a gift that that keeps on giving.
That level of community you've got, the boxing team that you've got, the level of community within it, you know, Grill, Aaron, like Aaron's mate Tom and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So many of the guys have come out of themselves and have improved, not as athletes, but as human beings. They're better people for coming in and learning to box.
Yeah, sure.
And, you know, they're just great lads. They're just really fun guys to be around. And you can see, do you ever said that level of camaraderie that I liked on the doors?
Like
that band of brothers.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, you know, it is fun. Like, it's like, you know, your little nephew Keanu stuff. Like, I was over for one of his fights and stuff like that. And after his fight, he texted me personally and stuff to say, like, thanks for shouting on and support and stuff like that. How many people are gonna carry that level of confidence? And, you know, that other people who then supported me, I'll help support other people. You know?
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So I know you helped a close friend of yours get off some heavy drugs in the past, and this podcast isn't all about just recovery, but I know you've got a lot of experience, so obviously you don't say names, but if you want to, can you talk us through what that journey was like?
Yeah. So I've always been a little bit awkward with people, and I'm sure you've picked up on this, and you know, people tell you, like, I'm a bit awkward around people. Once I get to know you, that's it. Like, as far as I'm concerned, like, you're either in the family or not. Like, I struggle to deal with people. So helping people wasn't always something that kind of came naturally to me, because I just didn't know how to interact with people. And basically, one of my good friends, he's a good friend now, basically, when he came to the area, he was with like a halfway house and stuff. Basically, he was addicted to crack, all sorts of other weird, wacky stuff. And I had to kind of help him deal with that kind of situation with like no experience. And he had that gives me way. He'd had a lot of experience with boxing and stuff. He's an amazing character and things. So I kind of said, well, we're doing this. We're doing some MMA. I know it's got like nothing to do with what you want to do. It's nothing to do with what you do, but like, can you come in and kind of just help out a little bit? And this was back when we was there in the nightclub, brushing glass off the floors. He came in, was teaching some of the lads how to box and stuff like that. And it was funny, they had all these guys like, yeah, we could throw some hands and stuff like, and then you had the guy who could actually box came in, and we were like, oh, we're all terrible, like this is brilliant. And he helped kind of bring us through. But the biggest thing that he lacked was a community engagement that helped support him by him helping others. It's a hard thing to go through. Like, I think overcoming addiction's such a huge hurdle in a person's life that I think they can't always focus on. I think sometimes what they need is a reason to get at, a reason not to get drunk, and a reason not to want to go and use. And personal experience from my side of things, like some of the family experiences stuff that I had, was that people used and drank because they wanted their life to be better.
Didn't like how they felt in their own head.
Yeah, in their own skin, that they needed an escape. And if drinking half a bottle of whiskey made them forget about them for an evening, they'd do it because they were trying to escape. And basically what happened to this guy is that he started interacting with us a lot. And then before he knew it, he had some friends who he could come around with. To be fair to him, like, he never stopped drinking, he never went teetotal, but he can have one or two and laugh, joke, call it. That's better. I've had to, quite happy there. But he started interacting with a community of people, and then people are asking him for help. So he was like, yeah, I'll be in tomorrow. I'll come in tomorrow and we'll do a little bit extra stuff. And then it was a big step for me because I didn't know him so well, but it was just a guy who had kind of got to know pretty well. But I wasn't like close with him. I hadn't known him years. I hadn't been friends with him for 10, 15 years. Basically, he ran out of somewhere to live. He's like, I've got nowhere to live in the halfway house. He kind of kicked me out of the bit. He tried to put me into a hostel. I can't remember the name of the hostel. It's gone completely out of my head. But basically, it's like where they release like nonces coming out of like prison and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. And he was just like, I can't.
He's going to end up in jail if he goes there, or he's going to end up back out in the madness.
Yeah. So he needs someone to go. So I went, I've got a spare room in my house. Do you want to move in? And he went, are you sure? And I went, well, so I'm going to lay one thing out. The only thing that worries me is like, I don't mind you living in the house. So like, we've gone out for a drink. I know you can control yourself drinking. It's like drug use. It was like his jam. And I was like, I just can't see you get jammed up doing that stuff. The other's going to be like, you come in the house, but you've got to be clean. Like, I'm not a drug user. I don't really kind of do anything. I don't really drink that much. But you've got to be like, you've got to be clean. That's my only deal. Like, you've got to be clean to be in the house. If I find you in the house or holding, like, that's it. Like, you've broken the trust you've done. And he moved in with me for about a year. I think, again, that whole, he could come downstairs and not be in a house full of idiots and go, what we're watching, what's on TV. I was like, oh, I'm watching UFC from last night. He's like, oh, cool. And he'd just sit there and we'd sat there and chat, and he'd tell me about the times that, like, when he was off boxing places around the world he visited when he was doing this stuff. He kind of went through it all, but I think what he needed a place to belong to.
Some stability.
Yeah.
And just to feel that little bit of being valued. Because I know I've been offered them hostels. When I was in prison, I got offered to come out of prison after a little bit early to go into this approved premises that was, like say, holding sex offenders and nonces. And I said, listen, just to keep me in jail. I would rather, and I hated it in jail.
Yeah.
I would rather be in prison because I know what's going to happen. I will get out. I've got children, and then they'll try and mix me with them types of people, and I would probably
end up
going back to jail for the rest of my license plus an extra charge. Yeah. So for me, I couldn't do that, and I feel you've kind of thrown him a little lifeline there.
Yeah.
And just it is that, especially in early recovery, is you have to stay busy.
Yeah.
You have to, staying busy is.
Where's the focus? Where's the reward to, like, it's addiction, the way it works in your head. You need the reward of stuff. And I think that level of reward from helping other people, and those people, Jimmy, thank you for a brilliant session, mate. Like, that was amazing. That was really hard. I felt so good after that.
And that does give you like a dopamine,
gives you the hit.
It definitely does.
And you look forward to going into again to help someone else again and get that little hit things. But I think from what I've seen from the outside is that most people can deal with it if they can replace it with something else, a healthier addiction. Yeah. It's amazing how many addicts in that I see like now who they all run. They all seem to be running for miles and miles and miles. I think it's just, again, they replace one addiction with another addiction. They using with like exercise.
Yeah, well, and being in recovery, I know a lot of people like whether it's buying stuff, they're always trying to fill that void, and we all have different food for a lot of people. But oh yeah, and a lot of recovering addicts that I know, they do run miles. Yeah, they do. So, what's like the toughest part of supporting someone through an addiction?
So I don't take myself to be what I'd call like an academic, like a learned person. Didn't do well in school, things like that. I'm not an academic person.
You're not like a book. I would say you're not a book smart, but you are one of the most intelligent people that I know. Streetwise,
But I try to learn a lot of different stuff, and I try to like learn new skills and kind of things. There was nothing there that could show me how to help a friend. And I know this is a kind of slightly different one's off topic. This is that I've actually helped a few male and female people help with like problems with like eating disorders and stuff. Everyone knows what they are. Everyone understands what they are, why they are, how they work. But there's no support and help for them. There's no, websites where you get easy information about here's how to help them. Here's how to help them overcome it. This is the level of support they need. This is the sort of things that you should try and get them involved in. None of that kind of existed. It was all like, try something and see how it fitted. If he was having a bad day and was feeling depressed, did he need to leave him alone and let him kind of sleep it out? Or did he need the excuse of, let's go out and do something? Like, what could you do?
you leave it be or do you intervene?
We're
Learning on the job as well.
Learning on the job, and one of the things I found is that he loved good food. He loved really good food. And it was really funny that if he was having a bit of a shitty day and I made something that was really good, he'd like, what you made? Like, made like this lamb casserole. He's like, oh, it smells really good, mate. I go, oh, mate, well, I've made a big bowl. I made enough like do 2 or 3 days. When you grab a bowl and we're going to stick a film or something. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, mate. So you just watch a film. He's like, oh, yeah, you sure enough? Yeah, mate. He'd have a bowl of food and he'd be like, oh, it's really good, guys, really good. But then that was the excuse for him to kind of break out of it. Like, he'd get out of his own head. He'd sit downstairs with us for 9 minutes watching a film, have a little bit of food in a social environment, almost like.
And it's a safe one as well.
Yeah. But brought into, like, for us, like, we call it like the family kind of environment. Like, he's brought into the family, sat down, had a cup of coffee, a food, whatever else it is. He was now part of the tribe. He was he was brought in with the tribe. When he was having a bit of a bad day and he was out of it, he was reminded that he was still part of the tribe. They had something to offer. And he'd sit there and kind of do that. And when I think that was enough to kind of shake him out of it a little bit. But
they just need that just to get you through the day sometimes. Like just so we always say in recovery, it's just for today. Just make it through that day, through that minute, through that hour, without using, and then them days start adding up, and then once he's had that extra day, then and it's another day, and it's another day. You're just helping him day by day.
Yeah,
it eventually adds up to a long time.
Like I say though, there's a lack of help, and I know with a friend who's going through some stuff with his kids at the moment. There's no help for eating disorders, and though they've got, I don't know what you'd call them, like a worker, or like not like a social worker, like a worker to help them with the kids with the eating disorder. They're having to go to their work, like their, don't even want to call them therapists, don't we want the appropriate therapists. Their support work in that situation, they go and turn around and go, well, you're getting us to do this, this, and this. Can we do this? And they're like, no. And they're like, why? Oh, because that's not what's in the book. Why does the book want us to do it this way? Like, that's what the book says to do.
I feel like that is what sort of society we're in now, where like a lot of places that hire people for like substance misuse workers that have never taken a drug in their life or anything like that, have no life experience in it, and you just really find it hard to take that advice.
Well, yeah. How can you take advice from someone who's never been there?
Like in Penryn House, every single person that works there is a recovering drug addict.
Yeah.
Every single person there has had their rock bottom, has had their low. So when they try and introduce you, you can be honest with them because they've been there, they've done it.
Yeah, they know what you've been through.
There's no embarrassment. You're not different. We're all the same.
Yeah. But again, I think that these people, for like my mate with their kids, like, they're not getting the support they need because it's not available in the right way. we live in an age now where there's, everyone's got chat GPT and got like basically, we all carry around a laptop in our hands. But even with that level of connection, if I turn around and said, like, Jamie needs help with opium addiction, there'd probably be half a dozen things in there. And probably maybe one of them would be of any vague use. There's just seems like a lack of resources to help. And then you got those like Penryn that are trying to do all this stuff. It's like, but again, is it enough? Is it funded enough? Is there enough outreach to be able to help people? I know that one of the people I know, I don't want to say his name, obviously now, he's really suffering with alcoholism. I said to you about trying to get to Penryn.
Yeah.
I know we're trying to get him to a meet. I think he did those like 2 meetings. Then as soon as he got his bank card back off his mother, bear in mind, this guy's like, was it 50? And he went out and bought alcohol straight away. Absolutely straight away. So much so that the only way we've managed to find any help for him now is we've managed to get him in basically the equivalent of Penryn House in Spain.
Right.
Well, get him out of the situation. We can literally get him out of the situation where he can't be around his regular positions, kind of get him out there. That's what he's hoping. He's out there for 2 months. He's hoping it's going to like keep him dry that 2 months. But that's what he's had to do to get himself dry. Whereas another young man from the area who started training with me now, he realised he had a problem. He was still phoning me when he was drunk. But I turned around and said, look, dude, I can't help you while you're still drunk.
Yeah.
Like, here's the things that I've been told that you need to do. I've got no experience in this. And interestingly enough, when I said about some of the meat, showed him where some of the meat were, he goes, I don't want to go to those because there's people there who I used to use with. I was like, yeah, well, they know what you're going through. And he was just like, I just feel a bit embarrassed.
That is a hard barrier to get over. It really is. One barrier for me, I didn't want to go to meetings because I knew Tara was there. And I thought, I'm going to open spill what's going on and it's going to get told to someone else. And I ended up marrying her. So, so you get over them barriers. But that is definitely one. But, with the meetings, it's not like that. But I can see why a lot of people don't go because of that. Yeah.
But the young man, to be fair, now the one who's joined me now, like, we've got one guy who's like, he's nearly 50, or he's 50, and he's out in Spain trying to get dry now. And he's had to leave the country, he's had to leave his friends, his family, and they'll try to go get dry. I don't know if stepping away from the tribe, is that going to be the best thing for him? I don't think so, personally.
For me, I just feel like if you're trying to change people, places, and things, it's you that's the problem. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're in a rehab, if you're in a residential home, if you're getting clean at home. It doesn't matter where you are. You're the problem. Yeah. Because drugs aren't the problem. Yeah. It's you. Because there's people that use drugs successfully. Yeah. So the reason why I can't use drugs successfully is because I don't know when to stop. I can't say no. I want more and more and more and more. Yeah. So it's not drugs that's the problem. It's me, because I'm like that with beer. But I'm like that with anything.
Exercise.
No matter what I do. And my wife's the same. We want more. It's the same. So it's us that's the problem, not the drugs. And I just feel when you kind of run away from the issue, and then you do your 8 weeks, then what happens when you come home? And you think I'm fixed now. I've got 2 months clean. I'm sound, and then bang,
you're back into the same situation that got you drinking in the first place. Yeah, that's kind of what I felt as well. I kind of felt like it was the wrong move, but I guess when you've kind of exhausted all with your family, they just don't know what else to do with stuff. And I suppose they're in a unique position where him and the family have got quite a bit of money, so their answer to this is throw enough cash at it.
And it might work. It might, it does work for some people, but for me and my wife, we had to get clean in the community because that's where we're going to be living, and we need to do it together and have the strength to be around this. So when we,
the temptation happens,
and you can control that temptation.
Well, to be fair, like the young man of the two now, that he's like late 20s, early 30s. He started training now. He realized he had a problem, and he had to wean himself down from like hard spirits down to like drinking like lagers and stuff. And he basically had to turn around and go like, I need to drink like he has run me through it. Right? He had to drink like X amount of lagers a day to basically stop the shakes and stuff.
But his body shut down, basically.
Yeah, and he's had to go through all that and come through that. I want to say he's like 3 or 4 months dry now, but now what he does is like his excuse is that he comes in and he's learning some MMA off that. And he's doing some strength and conditioning with me. He wants to jump in on some classes, and he's just he's going like, I want to be fit and healthy and look after myself. That's like his out. But I think he's managed to do all this from, or should I say, with a lack of external support. I think he has had some support, but I think it's like a lack of it for him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, some people have got, they're able to run on self-will.
Yeah.
As for me, I was too much of too hopeless of an addict to be. I wouldn't bother doing. And actually, do you know what? This will take me on to the next question, which is, can you tell us about hiring the boxing coach who not long after you hiring him relapsed, and just walk us through kind of what happened?
Yeah. So, gonna be rude to you now, Jamie. Unfortunately,
no, this is.
I'm
honest.
I knew of you, but wasn't friends with you. You'd say hello to, all right, mate, on the way past and stuff. But I was friends with your brother John. That's who I knew, and that's who I trusted. When you reached out to me, I was half tempted to go and speak to Jono first. I was like, no, it's not Jono who's asking for like help and stuff. And of course, as soon as I mentioned to like one person, like, oh, Jim wants to speak to me about possibly bringing some boxing into the pound. A lot of people told me not to do it. I didn't get where I got by not asking people for help, not getting a particular chance and stuff. And you approached me about it, and I was like, I'll sit down and have a coffee and see what you're going to say. And I'm a huge believer. My gut will tell me everything I need to know in 10 seconds, but a million text messages and phone calls will sort out. And I hugely believe that my gut will generally always give me the right answer first. It's the spider sense.
Yeah, spidey senses.
The spidey sense is
yeah,
we sat down and we had that coffee, and I was asking like why you wanted to do it, where you were up to and stuff. And I see you just wanted the chance to be able to do what you wanted to do and stuff. But your enthusiasm for what you did was like, yeah, he doesn't want a handout, he wants to do something for himself. I was like, you know what, like, Jono, me being friends with Jono is what gave me the chance, because I was just like,
connection.
There was a connection there. If I didn't have known Jono, I don't know how the conversation played out. I'd have maybe turned around and said, well, why don't you come in and run a boxing session? I had like a kind of like a couple of different avenues that kind of like laid out in my head. Like one where I just brought you into the fold, one where I was like, we'll kind of get you doing a little bit, and one where I was just like, right, well, almost like evaluate what we're going to do. But after the first conversation with you, Joe, I was just like, actually, Joe, I actually really liked you as a person. Straight away, I was just like, yeah, do you know what? Actually, I could see that I was going to be friends with you, and I would never have a problem. I would never have to have an employee-employer kind of relationship with you. I'd always just be able to, Jamie's the best mate. He's had the ISM, mate. We ran out of the ball, so there was never going to be any problem with any of it. It was always going to be LZ. I think the same thing with you turning around, like, guys, the gym was a mess. Guys, we need pads. Like, this needs sorting out. Any chance you can fix this?
Because one of the first things you said to me is, I said, I want to work for you, and you said, I don't have people working for me. I have people working with me.
Yeah,
and that's how it works. And I thought, well,
the gym's like, when people turn to me and go like, your boxing team's really, really good, I go, no, Jamie's boxing team is really, really good. It's just they're doing a really good job out of like the gym. That's it. I don't even call it my gym. It's like, if you look at, like, when we talk about the CrossFit gym and stuff like that, I don't even call it my gym. I call it Kaz's gym. It's Kaz's gym. My name's on the bills to gym. It's got to be great in the sum of its parts. We can do a boxing team, but you owning the boxing team, it gives you ownership. It's your baby. When Aaron steps up and fights, that's on you. That's the pride in you for all the hard work you've done, those guys. When you come up and fight, I'm not a boxing coach, but I've done a lot of fighting. You asked me to help corner you, rock your hands, and be there for you to fight, and I absolutely love that. I love the fact that you know that I can still be a part of it, even though I'm not a fluent boxing coach. I can teach people the basics to get them by, but what they're going to need is, if they want to be good, they need to speak to you. The same thing with like the MMA team. Dan is pretty much like taking control of the MMA team, and he looks after all the lads, and again, he'll come to me with what he needs and what he wants. But the same thing again, that if I said, Dan, you're going to look after my MMA team, and I want to make sure my MMA team does this, you're at my gym doing this, I basically turn around to you guys and go, like, the gym's yours, the boxing team is yours, Jimmy. The boxing team is all yours. The MMA team's all down. Like, all the jiu-jitsu stuff's down to like Bex and her boyfriend Rob and stuff. And the CrossFit's all Kaz's. If you look at the way I've done it, none of it's actually me. What I'm doing, I'm giving Kaz a chance to go and be this amazing CrossFit coach.
It's giving everyone their own individual platform to shine, but then we all shine as a team as well.
But again, that whole thing of like you turn around with Kaz, you're like, oh, can I come and do the CrossFit session? Kaz is like, yeah. I said, set you a tire up, man. You can both come in and train. It's just a little thing, but it's that level of interaction. Then you guys like practice to win stuff. It's like that's so nice. You practice to win like that. It was a really nice thought of you guys. And we've had that the whole team interacts. That we've done stuff with the team as like the whole gym stuff. But we're at a point now where the gym's so big that we are going to try and do some more like social events to kind of build everyone together. But it was nice that like I was doing some bench pressing the other day with one of my good mates, my mate training partner O's. And Big Will came in, he's like, oh God, you guys look strong, like how many reps did you get on that? And of course Will was got some bench press. So Will was in and was like China box stuff, and he wanted to come across to do a bit bench, and then the community from the different elements all interact with each other. And I'm a boxer, I'm not part of the pound. I'm an MMA fighter, I'm nothing to do with the boxing team. They all treat each other as one, they all get involved, they all know that they're off doing their own little bits, but they all kind of like, they're all part of the tribe, they're all part of our clan. I just absolutely love that. And then you brought a different element of people, you brought a whole new spin into what we did in the gym. And you coach, you're the different, you're the outlier in our gym. And it's one of the things I love about you is that Beck started from karate, but came across the karate, started doing main jiu-jitsu, started learning jiu-jitsu with us. So though she's learned off some amazing coaches, Bex is still kind of learning how to be a jiu-jitsu coach, kind of from me. Dad came in, started doing MMA, he'd done bits of striking and stuff before, but started getting into MMA. Dan learned his version of coaching because he learned from watching me. And though Dan's now got his own little spin on it, Dan still learned a lot of how he started coaching from how I coached. Whereas you're the only one who, when you came in as a coach, you didn't come in as a boxer who I helped train. You didn't learn off how I coach. So I come in, I watch you coach. I love watching you coach. Like on a Monday night when you come in and you start taking everyone through the routine stuff. And I find quite often I want to stand and listen to stuff. Yeah. I find it really interesting and fun the way you do it. Like it makes me go like, I could put this up for another year. I could box for it. It makes me get excited and wanting involved, and it's nice that you're like that. It's a big test, eh? And then we've got to get to the point of what this kind of like the big question about this was that I know that you had a bit of a relapse. I'll say a bit of a relapse.
Well, there was a lot of it.
Yeah, let's just say there was a bit of a
yeah. And the classes had just got to a really, really busy level.
Yeah.
And
then, you'd picked it up. You had a load of PT clients, everything. I found it really interesting because for me, on the outside looking in, I didn't pick up on any problems until here it is. It's just like, wow, I didn't know Jamie had relapsed that badly. I thought, you were okay. And I was like, maybe it's got to the point where, you could have a cider and you're like, oh no, guys, it's an alcohol free side. And I was like, maybe they've got themselves to that level, they're quite happy and stuff. And then it was really I can't remember when you said, oh, I'm sick, or you would come in, I was like, oh yeah, I've got class, or John will got class. I was just like, oh, okay, a bit odd. No worries. And I sent you a message, and the message I got back was a bit odd, and I was like, something's off here, and I couldn't work out what it was. And it was really once I spoke to John and stuff, John was just like, oh, while Jamie's going through all this, your brother was just like, I'll help coach and cover his classes, don't worry, I'll make sure the gym's okay. And to be fair, he hadn't been doing that much with us, he'd only been doing bits, but he was stepped up to I'll make sure everything's okay. That we realised you had a problem. And again, it was just part of it from my point of view was fuck, you're not concerned to me, I treat you I consider you part of my family, And I was like, shit, I didn't see that coming. Do you know what I mean? And part of me was just fuck, I
think I did it really well because I relapsed 2 weeks after winning the British title.
Yeah.
And I was holding it together a little bit until John has got a lot of experience with how my lying was when I'm using. So he cottoned on straight away. And he always told me, because I told him when I was coming for an interview with him, he said, you only get one chance, because he said, if you fuck up with that man, you don't get another chance. He said, listen, same on the doors, same on anything that he does. He said, that's why he's a good businessman. He said, if you try and fuck him up. So then I was like, fuck, I need to try and hide this now. And obviously, it was a problem from the straight away. As soon as we had that first drink and drug, that was it. We were back.
Straight full throttle again.
All bets were off. We were straight back in active addiction. But I thought I could hide it a little bit, because my looks hadn't started going as drawn in and looking rough and stuff like that, because it was still only early. So I was able to hide it. And then I think by the time you realise that something was going on, I was already
you're deep in the rabbit hole.
Balls deep back in active addiction.
Again, like one of the things I've always said, like people, and you've heard me say this to people with like, we run a business. I realise like the problem I've had now is I've got myself to the point like where we're running like quite a big business, and we've got 5 or 6 coaches who we've got to pay. We've got rent we've got to pay. We've got business rates. We've got insurance. We've got like the list goes fucking on and on and on. So we've got to pay. So I've got to be a little bit on it. And one of like my things like with the members is to turn around and go like, I never want to see anybody struggle with their mental health. And I know there's a few who do struggle with mental health, and they've gone, guys, I'm really struggling to get paid, and I can't afford to pay the bill. It's just like I haven't got the money yet to pay the bill, and I'm just going, cool. If you tell me that, I know you need help and support. I'll try my best to do it, as long as you're not taking this. And there's a couple of them who are like, guys, I'm really struggling. I'm really sorry. I get paid on the 10th. I know I'm supposed to pay on the 1st. I get paid on the 10th. Can I pay on the 10th? That's absolutely fine. You've got to understand, though, that come the 10th, I expect to be paid. I don't expect to have to come chasing you. I don't expect to have to phone you. I just expect you to be able to turn up and go, there's the money I owe. I've paid it. Thank you very much. And that's it. Like, no more said of it. And then I think that that's where it is with, like, for people like yourselves who are struggling, is that I want you guys to be able to turn around. And if you're having a bad time, like I said, I know, like I said this to your wife, you know, as well as you turn around and go, if you need shit, I'm never going to interfere. But if you turn around to me and tell me that you need help, I can help. But if you don't tell me you need help,
how do you know?
Yeah, I don't want to interfere. I don't interfere. I've had too many people interfere in my life over the years that I don't want to get involved in everyone else's. But if something happens and someone's like, guys, we need to do this, you know, we need that. And I had to pull like one of our members up the other week on it, where he was over a month behind on his payment. So basically he owed like 2 months worth of payment. I was like, everything cool? He's like, oh yeah, struggling for money and everything else. And then I was like, yeah, cool, that's fine. So like, we need to sort this out or do something to figure it out. Like, you want me to help him. Oh no, you'll sort it out. Lo and behold, then I saw the Saturday picture. He's taking his missus shopping to Cheshire Roads, taking her out for food and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm not being funny, but you went out for food, you went out shopping.
You're not that skin.
You both had bags full of new clothes, but yet you owe for the membership for something that, you know, you're supporting everyone else, but everyone else has supported you. You had your mobile phone, you pay your bill. But I just don't understand, like, you've made that choice, and they're like, oh, you know what it's like. And it's like, no, because like,
yeah, exactly.
It bugs me. Like, you know, if I turn around and go, shit, I owe someone 20 quid, my first priority is not when I can get some money and go shop. My first priority is I need to give that person 20 quid, and then I'll sort myself out after the fact. And it's little things like that. And I think what I realized is that my kind of interim or interaction to this, like, again, like, because you only get one chance to me. You get one chance, but the fact that you can turn around to me and go, I've got a problem, well, that's sound. That's you not fucking up. That's you admitting that you've got an issue, you've got a problem, you need some help with it. That I've got no problem with. You to be fair, as you do with everything in life, you handled it like a champion. You went, we've got a problem. Me and Tara struggling. It's like, cool. I know we're up to you. You're being honest with me about this. This I can work with. This I can help with. Whereas a lot of people, I think, almost kind of shut it down. And I think that's the big thing, that when you relapse and stuff, is I
think what we'd already learned in NA and recovery about that, if you share a problem, you know, that takes that power away. It's not a problem. I'm just a little trying to be honest, and we were struggling to get clean, and I remember coming back in. I think we just got a couple of weeks clean. And then I started coming back to the gym and I said, listen, I'm ready to start coaching again. And you said, no, well, I don't think you are. I tell you what, you do me a favor. You turn up to your own classes that you're supposed to be teaching.
Yeah.
I don't want you coaching. I only want you training.
Yeah.
And then once you've done, and then when I see fit, we'll get you back on it. And I think I did that for a couple of months. And obviously I was still helping out, but it was weird for me. So I was in my own class and I wasn't teaching. And, but it took that pressure off me to just enjoy my boxing again, get clean again, have that time to be able to go to meetings and not I have to be there on these days, and just to get that back, that the rhythm, and that early recovery again. And it kind of takes me on to my next question is what made you decide to help me with getting clean and to not give up on me? Because I feel like I did fuck that chance up, but now me and my wife, we're so glad that we had that relapse, because from that day now that we got clean, our lives have been different. So what made you not give up on me? Because I feel like everybody else was out the wits end, but they'd had years of this behaviour.
I've known Tara years, and I've seen Tara be a pain in the ass. I have to keep Tara out of clubs and pubs and stuff like that. So I know what she was like when she was younger. But really randomly is that never once was Tara ever horrible to me. So she'd try and come into the octagon and be like, "Come on, be fair, no, you're not allowed to come to the nightclub." She'd be like, "Yeah, whatever, guys, no worries." And she'd stand there and she'd be perfectly polite to me and would walk off, and there would never be a drop of drama. But everyone was like, "Oh, she's a nightmare, she's a nightmare." I was like, you just tried speaking to it normally. You just tried being like a normal human being. Just around and go, "No, you're not allowed it." No. Yeah. And she'd always be sound. I think that's all she needed. And then when you relapsed, I could turn around to you and go, "No, I don't want you in. I don't want you to do this. I don't think it's good enough." Blah, blah, blah. What you needed was help, and you admitted that you needed help. I'd seen the kind of people that you guys were together, and I had a lot of faith in not just you, but you two as a couple. And I just kind of knew that I don't want to say that this is going to be this is the only time you're ever going to have a mistake, because I'm 46. I have done some monumentally dumb fucking shit in my life. Some monumentally dumb stuff, from getting involved with the wrong people to, when you suddenly come around in a situation, you're just like, what am I doing here? What am I doing?
Yeah.
And I would love to say that I've learned my lesson, but some of the things I've made the same mistake, 2 or 3 times before I've kind of gone, I really need to fuck my ideas up and sort my shit out. I think that one of the things that I realized with you when you say to me is you turn around and go, people are in recovery. There's never a point where you say that even the people who are helping you at Penryn, they are
recovered.
They're not recovered.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
I think if you think that, "Oh, I'm fixed now," that's what we did. We thought, "Oh, we're fixed now." And
we can do this. We can just have one. We can just have we'll have one little party and it'll be over and done with. There's going to be times where you're going to make mistakes, but I think now the working relationship that I've got with you is, again, like I said, like a son to me now, is I know you're going to make mistakes that might not be a case you start using again. You're going to make a mistake that's going to need help and support. I always want to be the guy who you can turn around to go, "Guys, I've done this. Fuck, it probably wasn't my brightest idea, but I'd rather you be able to turn around and put your hand up, knowing that I'm going to go, fucking idiot, right? Okay, what we need help with?
Fix it?
How do we fix this?" And I think a lot of times is that, you're going to make mistakes in different ways. I don't think you and Tara, to be honest, I don't think you guys will start using again. I think you guys have, like we said earlier with guns and knives, you guys have got a healthy respect for what happens when you mistreat it or do something wrong. You've got a healthy respect for it and a healthy awareness.
And how quick, I think, it took us literally 2 weeks to get what took us 7 years to get into that spot. Within 2 weeks, we were back in that spot.
Yeah.
So just how fast, you think, "Oh, it'll take me well over a year till I get back into, like, I don't know, bang, it was straight back
to it, yeah.
if not worse. If not worse.
They say with like fitness that it takes you 6 weeks to lose what it took you 6 months to gain. And I think the same thing, what I've seen with like you guys with addiction, is that what's taking you 2 years to build up and get to, you can lose in 2 weeks just by a little slip up and stuff. But again, I can still see that Jamie was still there, and even speaking to Tara was still there. You hadn't gone fully off, and you both knew that you need to kind of sort yourselves out a little bit. I think if there was no remorse there about it, and you weren't, I don't think you would ask for help. You were just like, I need to sort myself out. You didn't turn around and go, I need help. You didn't even turn around and go, can I stay? You basically turned around and go, I need a bit of help and I need to get out of this like that and do this. You were able to kind of hold yourself accountable for it. It's different if I turn around and you go, Jamie, you've got to get clean. Jamie, you've got to go and run. It's different when I turn around and go, how's your fitness going? And you're like, yeah, cool. I ran 3 times a week. I'm not having to, you've done that for yourself.
Yeah.
Both again, you and Tara got to that point. You were just like, I need to get Thursday night off so I can go to a meeting. Is there any chance I can get Thursday night off? Go to a meeting. You decided you needed that. You were making the effort to make sure you were in that position where you guys were good. I can.
And you had no hassle at all with that. You said, listen, I'll take over that class. Yeah. I'll merge both classes into one class. And then that just allowed me to have a meeting then on a Monday, meeting on a Tuesday, online. I was going to one and leaving the meeting early to get back to the class. And then I had the meeting, I could go up to Penryn House on the Thursday, and then I was going on the activity day on the Friday. So everything was either filled with boxing or everything was filled with recovery. Yeah. And I feel like that's what you need in that early days. So just giving me, I felt like I was asking a lot because I'd only just started working again. And then I'm asking for you to give me so for me to work less. Yeah. But by allowing me that extra day, he got a lot more from me in the future, which kind of takes me on to my next question is, it's like, what's the feeling like now seeing the classes full and just like everything back on track and we've got a decent fight team now. We've got decent classes and decent level, and I never thought it's got a lot bigger than what I thought it was kind of going to get to.
Dude, like, I think it's amazing. Like the I went through a few trades, and I'll hold my hands up on this one where, turn around and businessmen make good business decisions. That's what makes him a good businessman. It's like, I kind of felt like boxing had kind of not done a swan song, but I kind of felt like it was like a dying thing. And I wasn't sure how busy it was going to be. And again, it was more about giving you a chance to do something for yourself than actually kind of getting a boxing team out of it for me. I think that's probably why.
Like the byproduct of
the byproduct is, you made an amazing team. Yeah, mate, they were really, really good. But I didn't think it was going to go through like that. I didn't think you were going to end up this big boxing team and stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, like, you've got plenty on your plate right now, but like, I know there's scope in the future to grow that more if you wanted to, because I know there's so many people asking about kids classes, like they want kids boxing classes. There's so much scope to possibly do other stuff in the future, because I didn't realize how popular boxing still was. There was like a point where you could literally get anyone who wasn't like just an armchair enthusiast, and they'd be naming them off. It's Lewis Tyson.
Oh yeah, it was easy back then for people to enjoy.
Yeah,
boxing. Yeah,
that was it. There seemed to be a lot of it, and then what I kind of felt was that there was no heroes anymore for me in it, and basically like
I feel like it did die down for
a little while.
For a while, yeah.
But I think there's a bit of a renaissance where it's coming back around and stuff. And there's a lot of people interested in it, and there's a lot of parents, I think, that likewise. I think they should be in boxing at schools. I think there's a lot of parents now who are looking like their kids and stuff. And I think there's like a big scope for, as we develop boxing team, it might not be something that you even do, but it might be the stuff that like Aaron Evans, Tom or Will, that they end up running a kids boxing session for you as part of your squad to help bring kids up so that the kids are ready to come to adults. I think it's something that will be a conversation to have, but I know like, again, that's work. That's not against all work with me, but you've got a little one due and stuff like that. But I think there's going to be a huge scope for growing just because
He's my next egg because I'm planning on him being a world champion, and that's mine and Tara's retirement, and and his obviously Jamie Junior, Jamie Edwards Junior, and I don't know any bad boxers with Junior on the end of the name.
Oh no, they're all lazy.
So I just thought if I name him Junior, and
away from
and then
how's he MMA fighter and he got to
have him training from the age of as soon as he can walk, and he'll have every chance in the world. So, what do you think sets your gym apart from others in the city?
100%, mate. It's nothing to do with the facility. Facility is just.
I feel like that is what a lot of people would say is, oh, he's just got a bigger gym. That's all it is.
It's not about the bricks and mortar. It's about the community. It's about the family that we've got there. The boxing squad is literally a team of people. They are all together. The same thing with the MMA guys is. It's the CrossFit side of things. It's the level of community within the gym that sets it apart. Very few people in the gym are in there for only their own vices. The guys who are in there and doing weights want everyone else to do well. And when they do like a CrossFit workout, they're happy and they high five each other when somebody sets a new PB on like a deadlift. They'll high five and cheer each other on, even though that person's just beat their PB. They'll still cheer them on and be like, "Yeah, amazing! Like, well done! Like, that's so good," kind of thing. And I think the same thing with the MMA is like when one of the guys goes out and does well and outperforms on a bigger show or does something, is that everyone's always behind the community of people that's there. You know, you could literally transplant our gym to anywhere. You could put us in to 4 small units and have one tiny CrossFit gym, one tiny kickboxing gym, one tiny boxing gym, one tiny MMA gym. And the level of community would still be the same if the gym was terrible. It's like that. It's this big family connection. But the big thing for me is that, you know, what the big thing about family is that families are a lot of different people. You got mum and dad, you've got kids, you've got grandparents. It's a huge melting pot of people on the floor in our place. Prime example, your boxing classes. You've got a mechanic, you've got a welder, you've got 2 doctors.
We've got a nuclear engineer.
You've got a nuclear engineer. You know,
we've got a dentist. We've got Ash.
Yeah, Ash is actually my dentist though. He's actually my dentist. That's also Ash to be fair, do some good work. You look at the melting pot of people you've got, and they all interact with each other as equals, and they're friends with each other, and they'll chat to each other. You know, that's amazing. I mean,
I feel like that's hard to get as well. There's one thing that I changed when I came back into training, because I'd obviously done like 2.5 years in prison just before, and I just got out when I came and approached you. But one thing I wanted, what I've learned from the pound is, it's like that commercial side of it, of everybody doesn't have to be a fighter. But like when we've got lads coming up to the fights, I always, when they've done our last session before the show, I always say thank you to every single person that's here that doesn't fight, because you are a working part of this machine, and without having you there to spar, because some of these lads are good enough to fight, they just don't want to.
Yeah.
But they're sparring for the lads that are going to fight, and without them being all different weights, different sizes, different experience levels, even if you're not the best and you're sparring someone that's fighting, and they're just using you for head movement, you're still providing a service to this team, and without us all. And it's the first time I've ever noticed people not coming to my classes. Yeah. So if I'll notice someone hasn't come for 2 sessions, I'll message them saying, "You okay, mate?" I'm not messaging you because I want saying, "No, come to the class," and just message to see if you're all right. And then, do you know what? 9 times out of 10, you've got something wrong with them, their mental health, or struggling with finding work, or and I'd say, "Listen, I'll try and see what I can do." Or the amount of people, I took a handful of people from classes to recovery, to NA meetings. Because I didn't even realise a lot of the people in my classes were struggling with addiction. And then obviously once I relapsed and got it back, then they felt okay to open up to me and say, I'm struggling with addiction. What are these meeting things? Or only asking questions. And
you entirely be amazing advocates for rehab and recovery. But, and, you know, it's something definitely you guys should look into, because I think you guys can help a lot of people. But again, you just don't realize how many people are struggling until they feel comfortable and confident enough to turn around and go, I've got a problem, I need help. Uh, literally, man, it's definitely something you guys should be doing yourselves. I think it'll help a lot of people, man, just by being who you are.
Yeah, and do you know what? I think that's what it is just being yourself. Stop. I was trying to, like, when I first got clean the first time, I was trying to promote this or show everything on social media. Oh, look, I'm boxing, I'm back to being a British champion, this, and not focusing on internally. I was trying to fix myself with external things, having more money. I was working too much. I'm just focusing on that instead of trying to fix what was wrong with me. And that now that instead of throwing a plaster over it, I'm dealing with stuff from my childhood and stuff that's, it's took me 7 years in prison to go, oh, right, well, that's not working. So I obviously don't learn my lessons first time round. A normal person will get into trouble. They'll go to prison for 2.5 years and they'll go, I didn't like that. I'm not doing that again. I went to prison. And then, yeah, I'm not saying I enjoyed it, but I felt comfortable there.
You got by.
Like, I was just, and when I got out, I done exactly the same thing again. And I went back, and I got out, and done the same thing again. Like, I learned my lessons slow, and you gave me that patience, and I'm just glad you gave me that little bit of leeway, to be able to lean on my recovery and stuff like that. And
yeah, you've got to get
the
it.
gym's flying at the moment, which will bring me on to my next question, which is obviously, what experience have you got with shows, and what plans have you got for the gym and shows in the future?
So going back when we originally swapped from our tiny gym to working with the kickboxing team on the high street, we shared a gym for a while where there was a kickboxing squad and an MMA team. And we did a show called the Ultimate Fight Night, which was based over in Colwyn Bay. And it was a pretty decent show. It was good experience. It was good kind of outlet for our people. What people tend to want to do is they want to do these shows and make a load of money, and what they don't realize is that they don't make.
There's no money.
Yeah, they don't make money. But what it does do, it gives your guys a chance to shine. It gives you a chance
to test the skills.
Yeah, and show their people, show their friends, their family what they're doing and stuff. And it is again, they are fun to do stuff. There's a lot of work. So we've got a little Insta club coming up now. The idea is going to be we've got boxing, MMA, and grappling all the time. And the idea is we've invited all the local gyms that they can come down and have a go. I don't expect the first one to be busy. It'll be the second, the third one where you start to get enough people in to make it kind of like it's actually worthwhile doing.
Yeah.
We have been approached about putting on some shows, and we've been approached about a couple of decent sized venues. It's just trying to work out the logistics of it. And again, I said earlier on about that pumpkin plan thing where it's easy to get kind of distracted by the shiny ball in the corner. But for the easier way, if I did 2 hours worth of PT work, if that's going to make me more money than working with that silver ball, I should just go and do the PT work. And every now and again, we get distracted. And the whole idea is with that pumpkin plan is it's ignoring these small pumpkins that are going to be a waste of my time and just focus on the big ones. The joy I've got now is that with you guys as a squad, is I think there's scope to develop this, because instead of me having to try and find and organise a lot of boxing fights, if I turn around and say, Jamie, can you find 5 of our guys who'd be willing to fight? It'd be harder for you to go decide which ones weren't fighting than it would be to. The same thing if I said to Dan, can you find me 5 MMA guys from our squad who would want to fight? Again, it'd be a case of who's going to fight, who's going to be like, who we're going to put on the show, who we're going to do. And the same thing for Becky with the grappling. She's got like a really good squad of people who, if I turn around and 5 people for grappling bouts, well, that's 15 fights in a night without having to stretch, kind of like without having to ask any local clubs to get involved.
Yeah.
So I think we're in a really good position now where the rising tide has to lift all clubs.
Yeah.
It doesn't just lift one, it doesn't just lift the other, it brings all of them. And I think that doing Insta-clubs to show where we're at it's not about making the money from the show. It's about, look how good our guys got. A lot of these guys have come from nothing. That like Chris Overman can have, there's 0 to hero. It shows what little can be done in 3 months by somebody wanting to get involved in doing it. I've got a couple of conversations to have with people about venues. I think out of the 2 or 3 we've looked at, I think the ones that seem to be mega keen on doing it, I think it's going to be mega keen because it's not going to work. I think they know it's not going to work, but they see as it's just going to bring a load of people in and it's going to make them some money and stuff. I don't think it's work. The ones that seem to be wanting to ask a lot more questions of like, want to know the kind of ins and outs of it, that's going to make our lives a bit more awkward, a little more hard work in the background work. I think there's a bigger scope to do something really kind of cool and impressive with that. So the idea would be probably by the end of this year, you'll hopefully had your little one, put your sleepless nights out of the way. Dan will have turned pro. We'll be in a better position for the whole gym to kind of be able to go, right, what's our next little thing that we're going to do as a team where we all do it together and get it to work really, really fucking well.
Because I think we got a good little squad between us.
Yeah. Just,
I hate boxing in a cage, and that's a logistical thing for me.
It's even nothing to do with the shape. It's the feel of the floor underneath you. It's the way you come to corner it, the way you can't block people off in corners, the way people can sidestep out. It's very different. So when MMA first started in the UK, they used to do it in boxing rings like they used to do in Pride old days. So my original kind of like first MMA fights were done in the cage. So when you run someone at a double leg, you bounce them off the cage wall, bounce them against it, and pull their legs away to pull them down. Probably get the boxing ring a bit like Brett Bark's gym was like you'd hit the ropes, you go through the ropes, you'd end up in the audience, kind of like have to get reset and stuff back in. Again, I think it's something to look at and address. And like when we're doing the interclub, obviously we've got the boxing ring, we've got the cage, we've got the back there, we can kind of keep it different. But I think doing a little show where, we maybe do a small boxing show isn't really an issue. I think it'd be quite easy to do. I think doing a little MMA show wouldn't be an issue. Or trying to do some sort of fight night where we might even have like 2 things where we have a cage and imagine what it'd be like to have like a massive venue, but there's a boxing ring for some of the fights and there's an MMA cage for some of the fights happen here and some of the fights happen there. Yeah. And it's still like 1, 2, 1, 2, like fighting in different sizes, but imagine being able to put on the show.
Like a festival of
like a festival of fighting.
Of getting punched in the face.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, and why not do that? That during the day, the chance for the kids to get out there and do some shows. And then when it becomes the adults and it becomes the night entertainment and there's people drinking stuff, you can have the kids out of that environment.
Yeah.
And kind of away from it stuff. I still think don't ask me why it holds as much interest in for me as it does, but I think it is something that we are going to approach as a team. But what I'm going to do is the way that the gym works is if there's 5 of us who are getting involved in it, I need a yes out of all 5 of us. If one of us is just like, I think this is a terrible idea, we need to step away from it. I think we all need to be either all in, or not at all. And if you don't want to be all in, that's sound. Like it's fine, it's understandable. But I think that if we're in, kind of thing.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So I want to go through some final reflection, and I just want to, what motivates you to keep going through all the stress and the pressure of running a gym?
Glutton for punishment. No. I realized that I tried to kind of sort out in my own head like why I do what I do, and I realized I like helping people who want help and appreciate help. Whether that's getting someone to, one of the guys with now, he's lost, I think it's like close to 9 stone now that he's lost. He's not really an athlete, but he's lost 9 stone. I've made a huge difference in his life. He's always grateful. He's always willing to listen. He's always got time for me and stuff. I like helping people. I don't think I'd get the same level of satisfaction from another job that I could, that I won't be able to find that level of satisfaction with anyone else. And I'm in a really unique position where, again, the whole squad and team we've got in the gym, the members, the coaches, we're supporting all of it. It's a big family. It's a big tribe. And the reason why a tribe works in the wild is
everyone has their own job to do.
Yeah, someone goes out and a hand brings back the meat. Somebody else is sorting out. Oh, somebody else is rebuilding a wall on a hut that's fallen down. But we all pull together. And I think that in modern society with social media, we don't necessarily have that level of belonging anymore, that level of tribe. And I think that when it comes to the gym, it has that. And there's a lot of people that need it. And I'm one of them that I need it. And so I've created...
I've managed to get rid of it. I haven't had when we got clean, we deleted social media, and I think that's the best thing I've ever done.
But when I say need, I'm going to clarify need, because I know, well, personally, I think I have a social media addiction. I find it very hard to not, if I'm sat there chatting to cats in the kitchen, I find it very easy for the phone to come out. Then I'm like, do Instagram. 20 minutes later, I'm like, I haven't listened to a word she said. So
Yeah.
And I think it's so disrespectful to guys that I do that on my phone.
I think it's doing it by not even meaning to do it subconsciously.
No.
You don't even think about what you're doing, and you know.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm like, this is so disrespectful. That it's one of the things that what I've done now is like, I've got a phone that's connected to work, and it's got like work, social media, and all that kind of stuff on it. And I've got the one that's got my own social media. I try to kind of basically not look at stuff. I'm trying to limit it. One of the things I found for myself is that I've made it now so my phone at 8 o'clock at night goes to black and white. And strange enough, as soon as that thing goes to black and white, I have zero interest in it. It's got no appeal to me. If I turn the lights back on, I'll just look at this stuff for 2 minutes. I'll just turn the colour back on. I'll stand it for 2 minutes again. And I think I've got a social media addiction. I think I do actually have like a problem with social media. But to own a business and have a presence on social media for business, you're not allowed to do that unless you have a personal account.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I'll just delete everything off my personal account. It's like, if you don't get people on the personal account, it doesn't share your stuff out, so less people see it. They're like, well, there's no such thing as Gaz, so why do people want to hear about his gym? It's just like, it's all designed to
Catch-22. They know exactly what they're doing. It's keeping. You're not going to get in no algorithms if you're not friends on your.
If I am classed as a bad user doesn't look at your videos, doesn't like your videos, and doesn't comment. That's a bad user. So what they'll turn around and go, well, if I like Jamie, brilliant picture, well done, you and Tyra look lovely here, whatever else it is, like, and a little comment. That gives like Meta a little point boost of like, you're a good you're a good person, well done. We'll show people your stuff now so that they see it. So I'm like, cool. So if I have a week where I'm on off social media and I like posts and comment on posts, I'll find that the number of views on our reels will go up. If I don't, it goes down. So I almost have to spend half an hour going through posts to likes, posts, and put some comments and stuff, share posts out, share some things.
Just to get that
just so people see what the business is about. And again, that is a business, they're just doing their business, but it means that you kind of got to interact.
You want to give to receive, yeah.
Yeah, which is a bit of a thing. I don't particularly like it. I would like to get away from social media.
Yeah, it's kind of impossible when you're
a business
in the business like that you're in.
Well, one of the guys who I do a bit of interaction. I spotted quite early on in the interactions with him. So he does business mentorship about like how to run gyms and all this kind of stuff. But he'll always reply to your messages, and I was just like, for a busy guy, a lot of followers, like this guy always replies to your messages. And I replied to something about it and asked the question, and you replied, and I was like, that's kind of cool. Yeah, 3 or 4 weeks later, you should do this and think about this. Your clients. I was like, oh, why would you do this? Is this like a good way of doing it? And the reply got like, if I said like the language changed, and it's like, if I text you and Tyra replies, you can kind of tell it's 2 different people.
Yeah, from how she types on her grammar,
her grammar
she's used.
Or when she goes, oh, shut up, Nobed. Like, I'm just like, Jamie, now call me Nobed. Right, that's Tyra. It's that kind of level of that interaction with that person.
Yeah.
And I was trying to scan, I was just like, is this actually you? And he's like, yeah, it's me. And I was just like, so anyway, please reply again. Interaction again. Replies pretty quick. I'm like, this guy was just living social media. So I was speaking to somebody else, and he went, oh yeah, there's about 20 people who've got access to his account. And Jamie, you're in charge of my account on Monday. Tara, you're in charge of my account Tuesday. Rhea's in charge Wednesday, like where else? And they'll reply like they you, because they've got a rough idea of what a boxing class is and what it is. And they'll just reply. So basically what happens is there's like a phone that does a round, they just log in different people. So how he gets his interactions is that he doesn't actually ever use his own social media. It's always somebody else. I was like I picked up.
I thought you were going to say AI or something then.
Well, that's what I thought it was. I literally thought that's what it was originally. It was like an AI like assistant, but it turns out no, they literally just have people who log into the account. I want you to log into my account on Monday and just reply to messages, reply to people, and then when I put a picture up, just put a picture. great gym, guys. Well done.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And then, it'd be the next person like, brilliant, love your colours in your gym. It's not a very guy thing to say. And it's like, oh, it's obviously a girl's got hold of the thing, and she's like, fantastic, I love your shoes. Like, expect that from Tara, I wouldn't expect that from you. Like, you know what I mean? And I realized that that's what they're doing. But if there was a way that I could separate myself off social media and step away from it, I would. I think I would, but I can't.
Yeah.
But again,
Catch 22. So what advice would you give to somebody struggling maybe with addiction, discipline, or just life in general?
do you have a good definition of what discipline is?
Turning up and doing something that you don't want to do, but you have to do it.
Exactly it. That is literally the textbook definition. It's the having to do the task that might be hard and difficult, and you don't want to do, but doing it anyway.
So when you're not motivated, it's like discipline over motivation every time.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, discipline, the ability to carry on doing what you're doing when the motivation's left you.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
I think people, especially guys, need to be willing to ask for help. I went through a big mental health struggle with myself where I proper was like all over the shop. Strange enough, one of your neighbours, Deuce,
yep,
he picked up on one message on me where basically I was at rock bottom. Like, it literally was, I would have happily have hurt myself or just checked out. Like, I want off this roller coaster, baby. Like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. He sent me a text message to say to me, I replied to him in a weird way. He literally went, something's wrong. He dropped what he's doing, told his missus, jumped in the car, drove to my house and abandoned his car outside my house, came straight to the house. Like, what's going on? I was just like, how did you know I was going to do something? He's like, because he was just spider sense thing that I could tell something that I was just like, I need help. I need help. I'm really struggling. I need help. And he sat in the house with me for about 3 or 4 hours, just chatting to me, kind of going through it all. I was able to kind of talk about it. And I literally was like, how did I say this? I feel so embarrassed. And I said it. He was just like, that's good, like, that's tough. Like, we all get to go through it. It's not easy. Like, you can figure a way around it. It's just like, he wasn't condescending. It was like, what the fuck? What's the problem? Like, he literally spoke to all of me. And I think that a lot of people don't want to admit that they've got a problem. Just admit. I don't want to admit I've got social. Like, I think I've got the social media addiction. I think it's probably one of the least ones to complain about. I feel a bit stupid at 46 years old.
But if you added up the amount of time that you spent on it,
don't mate.
Don't
like
it'd be a scary number.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot more sleep.
Yeah, I'd have a lot more time with my fiancé.
Yep.
I would have a lot more time focused on my business. I'd have a lot more time to train. Can't joke about this. I forget to eat. Like, if I get sucked into something, if I get sucked into a rabbit hole, I'll forget to eat. But they basically just designed that algorithm for the flashy lights.
They know exactly what
to hit that.
What comes up is what you want.
Yeah, a lot of terrible dad jokes.
Yeah. I liked what you said before. I feel like that answers the question pretty well. And there's a quote of Rocky: "It's not how hard you can hit; it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." And I think that's it. Doesn't matter what life hits you with, how hard you get hit. You fall down 7 times, you stand up 8. You just keep that moving forward, because eventually, I think a lot of people leave before the miracle happens, don't they? So just keep that pushing forward no matter what.
That's why I find you so inspirational. Like just everything you do and stuff, and everything you've been through. Not one time have you been like, "Woe is me! Look how bad things have been to me. Like, this is terrible. I don't deserve things because I've had such a hard time." Never once after you've got to earn it, and you put time in, you put effort. Like, it's why I find I actually find you quite inspirational in what you've achieved, what you've managed to become, and I can't wait to watch you. I literally can't wait.
I know, I can't wait. Right, so the last bit now is going to be quick fire round, 15 questions.
Okay. This is why I failed school, mate. Let's do this shit, yeah.
Short answers only.
Okay.
First thing that comes to your mind, and we'll just fly through these now. So I've got 15 of them nice and quick. First MMA fight you ever watched?
It was Hoist Gracie versus a guy called. It was a little Samoan guy with a mohawk, and he had a big cross, and apparently he was a preacher. I just watched this thing, and literally I watched it and I was just like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing. Like, this is absolutely, I literally couldn't believe it. Like, I was just like, what is this about? Years later, I got German Hoist. So yeah,
So, go-to cheat meal.
it's Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Most intimidating opponent you've ever faced.
my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The combination to teach on the pads.
for me, it's jab, left hook, straight right, and then if it's doing the kickboxing, it's that cheeky right leg kick on the bottom of it.
Last time you got into a real fight outside the cage.
Does this include door stuff?
Last unsanctioned fight.
Last unsanctioned fight, going back many moons ago, girlfriend's bum got slapped in local nightclub, and my hands got the better of me.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Gym playlist, rap, rock, silence, hip hop.
country all day long.
Country.
Leaning heavily into that truck gun hillbilly lifestyle. Yeah,
Okay. Most underrated martial art. It's a good one.
that is a good one. Most underrated. That's tough. That's actually got to be stumped a little bit on that one. I would probably go with judo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because how many times do you walk out without the t-shirt clothes on? If you've got something they can grab hold of, judokas could throw you and pin you. And if you've ever been pinned by a good judoka, like that stuff, if you go punch them on the face, you can touch them. If you can touch them, they can grab hold of you. Yeah, you might get a good couple of punch shots, but if they get hold of you, they're gonna do some damage to you.
One thing you wish more people understood about fighting.
The mental fortitude it takes. Like, physical's one thing, the mental fortitude it takes to be able to do it is like a whole new level.
One CrossFit movement you secretly hate.
Yeah, thrusters, yeah, all day long.
Yeah, I don't even think that's a secret.
Yeah.
Dream guest you'd love to walk into your gym.
Dream guest. It's an old one, but a good one, and it's a guy called GSP, George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
He's retired and stuff now, but
a Canadian
guy. Absolutely loved everything about his fights. I love the fact that he learned to wrestle, but he always did loads of S&C and always publicised that he was doing S&C. So yeah.
You can only choose one for life: the gun range or the grappling mat. One has to go.
Grappling.
Grappling to go or grappling to stay?
To stay.
Yeah, grappling to stay.
If I do more than a week off the mats without grappling, man, like, my mental health suffers.
Okay, early mornings or late nights?
I'm not a morning person, dude. I'm not a morning person. Yeah.
So we're going with late nights.
I'd go late nights.
Late nights.
Yeah.
Favourite way to unwind after a tough week?
Believe it or not, I read an awful lot. Fiction, science fiction books.
Yeah.
I read tons. I read tons of books. Yeah.
Most emotional moment you've had in the gym?
Most emotional moment I had in the gym. I think to be honest, it's like it was like when I think it was a guy called Jack, and he lost. Like, he was like the first guy who we thought was going to do really well, and he lost his first fight. I don't know why, but it literally it so upset me. Like, it literally, like, you thought I'd lost. And I'm still friends with Jack to this day. Like, Jack was in uni, like, we went back probably like 10, 15 years ago. And literally, like, I just yeah, it just broke me a little bit inside.
Okay, last one. If you weren't doing this job, what else? You can't choose this job. What else would you do for this if you couldn't do this job?
It would be something like through like sports, like an osteopath or a chiropractor. And I still like it's a secret love of mine that I like fixing broken people. So,
well, thank you for coming on the podcast. That's a wrap on today's episode. Gaz isn't just building fighters; he's building people from nightclubs to corner room fighters, from helping addicts to building champions. His journey is one of great loyalty and heart. This episode hit home for you. Share it with someone who needs it. Follow Fighting to Recover podcast for more raw and real conversations. Until next time, stay sharp, stay grounded, and never stop fighting for what matters. Thank you so much for coming on, Gaz. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, mate.